From the dawn of civilization to the rise of a modern era to the promise of a new generation, this is the start of a new era for Libya. Backed by global partners, driven by Libyan innovators, Libya is reclaiming its place as a global energy leader. With the National Oil Corporation driving a multi-year strategy, Libya has set bold targets. 2 million barrels per day, 8 billion barrels of additional reserves, 400,000 barrels in refining. Redevelopment will be the bedrock of production. Brownfields will strengthen output. Greenfields will shape discoveries. Marginal fields will open doors for reserve replacement. And a 22-block licensing round will ignite a new era of exploration and development. Led by the NOC and the Ministry of Oil and Gas, this is the year to take the Libyan industry to new heights. Building on global ties, this next era will be shaped by international partnerships, renewed negotiations and deals, expanded operations by ADC, TotalEnergies, Repsol, NA, OMV, and ConocoPhillips. This is the dawn of a new beginning for Libya's oil and gas sector. Italy, France, America, the UK, Turkey, Malta, and more. This is the time of a new chapter of strategic partnerships. 2026 will see new foundations forged, leveraging networks of the past. Infrastructure will once again transform domestic markets. Structures A&E, the Zlatan Power Facility, Uri gas utilization, and the Southern Refinery. Libya is turning downstream investments into vehicles for development, moving beyond extraction. Infrastructure will strengthen distribution systems. With the oil and gas at the center, this next era will be defined by resource integration, a 4 gigawatts renewables target, 20 strategic power projects, IOC-led solar and interconnection projects. Libya is not just diversifying its industry, it's freeing up gas for exports, maximizing an ancient resource and forging new pathways beyond oil. This is the year for a new dawn in Libya. This next generation will bring the vision of Libya's future to life. An agent of transformation, the Libya Energy and Economic Summit connects continents, unlocks investments, and drives the vision of the nation forward. The Libya Energy and Economic Summit 2026 is a moment to reflect on the past, strategize for the future, and take the bold next steps of Libya's energy journey. Welcome to the Libya Energy and Economic Summit. This is the dawn of the new generation in Libya.
أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، السيدات والسادة، نرحب بكم في طرابلس في قمة ليبيا للطاقة والاقتصاد.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tripoli and to the Libya Energy and Economic Summit.
هي لحظة مفصلية تعكس عودة ليبيا بثقة إلى قلب مشهد الطاقة العالمي. ليبيا اليوم لا تتحدث فقط عن استعادة الإنتاج، بل عن زيادته، استدامته، وربطه بالنمو الاقتصادي والاستقرار الإقليمي.
It is a defining moment, marking Libya's confident return to the global energy landscape. Today, Libya is not only restoring production, but it is increasing it, sustaining it, and linking it to economic growth and regional stability.
ومن خلال شراكات دولية متنامية ورؤية استراتيجية واضحة تعلن ليبيا من هذه القمة انطلاق مرحلة جديدة، مرحلة تقودها الأرقام وتؤكدها الثقة ويصنعها القرار.
And through expanding international partnership and a clear strategic vision, Libya announces from this summit the beginning of a new phase. A phase driven by performance, reinforced by confidence, and shaped by decisive leadership.
ولتسهيل المتابعة تتوفر سماعات لمن يرغب بالاستماع باللغات العربية والإنجليزية والفرنسية.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your convenience, headsets are going to be available here should you wish to listen to the proceedings in English, Arabic, and French.
وننتقل الآن إلى الكلمة الترحيبية مع السيد مسعود محمد سليمان رئيس مجلس إدارة المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط.
We move now to the welcoming address by Mr. Masoud Suleman, Chairman of the National Oil Corporation of Libya. Please join us in welcoming him.
السادة الحضور، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. معالي دولة رئيس مجلس الوزراء المهندس عبد الحميد الدبيبة، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، معالي وزير البترول والثروة المعدنية بجمهورية مصر العربية الشقيقة، معالي وزير الطاقة بدولة تركيا، أصحاب السعادة السفراء وممثلي البعثات الدبلوماسية، قادة وممثلي كبرى الشركات العالمية والوطنية، الحضور الكريم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. أتشرف بلقائكم اليوم هنا في العاصمة طرابلس في قمة ليبيا للطاقة والاقتصاد. هذا اللقاء الذي يجمع صناع القرار وممثلي الدول الشقيقة والصديقة وقادة كبرى الشركات الوطنية والدولية في مرحلة دقيقة ومفصلية من مصيرة قطاع النفط والغاز الذي يمر بتحديات كبيرة أبرزها تقلب أسعار النفط وتخمة المعروض وآثارها على الدول المنتجة ونمو الاقتصاد العالمي. إن رؤيتنا في المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط تنطلق من قناعة راسخة بأن النفط والغاز معاً يشكلان ركيزة سيادية أساسية ليس فقط للاقتصاد الوطني بل أيضاً لاستقرار أسواق الطاقة إقليمياً ودولياً. ومن هذا المنطلق نعمل على بناء قطاع طاقة متكامل قوي ومستقر وشفاف قادر على جذب الاستثمارات النوعية والعمل وفق أعلى المعايير الدولية في الحوكمة والسلامة والاستدامة. ورغم التحديات التي واجهها القطاع خلال السنوات الماضية فقد تمكنت المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط بجهود كوادرها الوطنية وبدعم حكومة الوحدة الوطنية وبالتعاون مع شركائها من تحقيق إنجازات ملموسة في مجال النفط والغاز. فقد حافظنا على استمرارية الإنتاج وحققنا زيادة في معدلاته، حيث وصل الإنتاج التراكمي للنفط الخام خلال عام 2025 إلى أعلى مستوى خلال 13 عاماً الماضية، بإنتاج تراكمي بلغ أكثر من 500 مليون برميل خلال العام. كما أعدنا تشغيل عدداً من الحقول والمصانع، وحققنا تحسناً في الأداء التشغيلي إلى جانب تعزيز السلامة وإجراءات حماية الأصول. كما حققت المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط عدة اكتشافات هامة خلال العام الماضي في مجال النفط والغاز في حوض سرت وغدامس ومرزق، ونفذنا خلال ذات العام مسوحات سيزمية ثلاثية الأبعاد لما يقارب عن 4000 كيلومتر مربع، وكل ذلك تحقق بفضل كوادرنا الفنية المؤهلة والمدربة وما يحويه باطن الأرض من خيرات واعدة. وفي هذا السياق نولي قطاع الغاز اهتماماً خاصاً إدراكاً منا لأهميته المتزايدة في مزيج الطاقة العالمي، حيث تمتلك ليبيا إمكانيات واعدة في مجال الغاز سواء في الحقول البرية أو البحرية، ونعمل على تطويرها بما يحقق توازناً بين تلبية الطلب المحلي ودعم الصناعات الوطنية وتعزيز دور ليبيا كمورد موثوق للأسواق الإقليمية والدولية. خلال هذا العام ستشرع المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط في تطوير القطعة عروس البحر وحقل شمال جالو والامتياز الإنسي 7، وكذلك حقل إنسي 47 وغيرها، بالإضافة إلى تشغيل مصفاة راس لنوف أحد أكبر المصافي في شمال أفريقيا، وغيرها من المشاريع الاستراتيجية الهامة المخطط لها هذا العام. كما أن المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط لديها مشاريع استراتيجية هامة أخرى في مجال الغاز سواء على اليابسة أو في البحر المتوسط، لا سيما استكمال المرحلة الثانية من تطوير حقل بحر السلام الA والE، بالإضافة إلى حقل بحر السلام الجنوبي مع شريكنا الاستراتيجي الإيناي. ونسعى جدياً للحفر الاستكشافي للمصادر غير التقليدية للغاز في بلادنا أو ما يعرف بالشيل غاز. وفي إطار الحفاظ على البيئة وتقليل الانبعاثات الكربونية، نجحنا وفق خطة مدروسة لتحويل نحو 100 مليون قدم مكعب من الغاز المحروق يومياً إلى منظومة الاستفادة منه في إنتاج الكهرباء والصناعات البتروكيماوية. ونسعى هذا العام إلى تحويل كميات إضافية تصل إلى أكثر من 120 مليون قدم مكعب من الغاز كانت تحرق يومياً لتلبي احتياجات الكهرباء والصناعات البتروكيماوية وحتى الأسواق العالمية، وبذلك تكون المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط قد نفذت أكثر من 60% من خطتها للحد من الانبعاثات والوصول لمعدل الحرق شبه الصفري. وفي إطار خططنا لتطوير المصافي المحلية، نعمل على سد احتياجات السوق المحلي من المحروقات من خلال صيانة وتطوير المصافي القائمة، وكذلك إنشاء مصافي جديدة، بالإضافة إلى تطوير صناعة البتروكيماويات. وبهذه المناسبة نغتنم الفرصة لدعوة الشركاء الدوليين للاستثمار في هذه المجالات الحيوية. إن الاستقرار يظل العامل الحاسم لنجاح هذه الرؤية، فالمؤسسة الوطنية للنفط تعمل كمؤسسة مهنية مستقلة وتضع مصلحة ليبيا فوق كل اعتبار، وقد لمس شركاءنا تحسناً واضحاً في بيئة العمل واستقراره نسبياً، وهو ما نحرص على تعزيزه لضمان استدامة الإنتاج وجذب الاستثمار. ومن هذا المنبر أود أن أتوقف عند محطة مهمة تعكس هذا التوجه، وهي جولة العطاء العام التي تمثل رسالة واضحة بأن ليبيا استعادت مكانتها على خارطة الاستثمار العالمي في قطاع الطاقة نفطاً وغازاً، والتي ستعلن نتائجها بكل شفافية في 11 من فبراير المقبل. وفي هذا الإطار تبنت المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط استراتيجية محورية تهدف إلى تعزيز تنافسية ليبيا في استقطاب رؤوس الأموال العالمية، لا سيما في ظل التحولات المتسارعة التي يشهدها قطاع الطاقة العالمي والتوجه المتزايد نحو خفض الانبعاثات الكربونية وتحسين كفاءة الاستثمار. وانطلاقاً من هذه الرؤية عملت المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط على استحداث نموذج متطور لاتفاقيات الاستكشاف ومقاسمة الإنتاج، صمم خصيصاً لتحسين الجدوى الاقتصادية للمشروعات وتسريع عوائد الشركاء. وقد شملت هذه التحديثات الجوهرية بما يتيح للمستثمرين المشاركة في الإيرادات منذ المراحل الأولى لانطلاق العمليات، كما اعتمدنا أسلوب التدريج بدلاً من مستويات الإنتاج الجامدة، بحيث ترتبط الحوافز المادية بالربحية الفعلية واقتصاديات المشروع، وهو ما يوفر إطاراً تعاقدياً أكثر مرونة واستجابة لمتغيرات السوق، ويحقق توازناً عادلاً بين مصلحة الدولة وجاذبية الاستثمار. وتشير التقييمات الأولية إلى أن هذه الإصلاحات الهيكلية من شأنها أن تحدث نقلة نوعية في العوائد الاستثمارية، حيث يمكن أن يرتفع معدل العائد الداخلي للمستثمرين لمستوى يصل إلى نحو 35% في الأصول عالية الأداء. وقد حظيت هذه الجولة باهتمام واسع من كبرى الشركات الدولية، حيث تأهلت 37 شركة عالمية كبرى في مؤشر واضح على تنامي الثقة في بيئة الاستثمار الليبية. وتأتي هذه الخطوات في إطار سعي المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط إلى تحقيق مستهدفاتها الطموحة برفع معدلات الإنتاج من النفط الخام إلى 1,600,000 برميل يومياً كمرحلة أولى قصيرة المدى، وإلى 2 مليون برميل كمرحلة ثانية متوسطة المدى، بما يعزز مكانة ليبيا كفاعل رئيسي وموثوق في أسواق الطاقة العالمية. سادة الحضور، إن رسالتنا إلى العالم اليوم واضحة وصريحة: ليبيا شريك موثوق، وقطاع طاقتها مفتوح للتعاون الجاد والمسؤول، ونحن ملتزمون بتوفير بيئة استثمار مستقرة وإطار قانوني وفني واضح يضمن الاستدامة ويحمي الثروة الوطنية، كما أن المشاريع سالفة الذكر وغيرها تبلغ تكلفة الاستثمار فيها إلى ما يزيد عن 20 مليار دولار أمريكي خلال مراحل التنفيذ، سيمول جلها من خارج الميزانية العامة. إن قطاع الطاقة في ليبيا وبخاصة النفط والغاز هو مسؤولية مشتركة، ويتطلب تضافر الجهود بين الدولة والمؤسسة والشركاء المحليين والدوليين. ورغم التحديات فإن الفرصة اليوم حقيقية، والإرادة موجودة، والقدرة على النجاح متوفرة. وفي الختام أجدد ترحيبي بكم جميعاً في ليبيا، وأدعوكم لأن تكونوا شركاء فاعلين في مسيرة البناء والاستقرار، وأن نعمل معاً من أجل قطاع طاقة قوي ومتوازن ومستدام يخدم ليبيا ويعزز مكانتها الإقليمية والدولية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. واسمحوا لي أن أدعو دولة رئيس الوزراء المهندس عبدالحميد الدبيبة لافتتاح أعمال قمة ليبيا للطاقة والاقتصاد، فليتفضل مشكورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد أشرف المرسلين. السيدات والسادة الحضور الكريم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أرحب بكم اليوم في قمة ليبيا للطاقة والاقتصاد في نسختها الرابعة، وأرحب كذلك بضيوف ليبيا من الدول الصديقة والشركات العالمية التي تحضر معنا والمؤسسات الدولية كذلك. تمثل هذه القمة محطة سنوية معتبرة في قطاع الطاقة، وتؤكد عودة ليبيا إلى موقعها الطبيعي في منظومة الطاقة الإقليمية والدولية. وتتعامل الدولة الليبية مع ملف الطاقة باعتباره قراراً سيادياً واقتصادياً يحدد قدرة الدولة على الاستقرار والنمو وتحسين الخدمات. ولهذا ركزت حكومة الوحدة الوطنية خلال الفترة الماضية على تثبيت انتظام الإنتاج ورفع كفاءة المنظومة التشغيلية وتهيئة بيئة أكثر وضوحاً للشركات وللشراكات والاستثمار. وخلال العام الماضي ولله الحمد سجل قطاع النفط والغاز مؤشرات أداة ملموسة، فقد شهد عام 2025 أعلى معدل إنتاج يومي بلغ 1,374,000 برميل يومياً، وهو ولله الحمد الأعلى منذ أكثر من 12 سنة. كما جرى إدخال عدد من الحقول الجديدة في الإنتاج، من بينها حقل إيراون مدخودش وحقل الخير وحقل الحمادة 47 وحقل سيناون. في جانب الاستكشاف تم الإعلان ولله الحمد على جولة العطاء العام لمنح امتيازات البحث والاستكشاف والتنقيب عن النفط والغاز في اليابسة والمياه المغمورة، وهي الأولى ولله الحمد مرة أخرى بدأت منذ أكثر من 17 عام، ومن المقرر الإعلان عن نتائج هذه الجولة الأسبوع الثاني من شهر فبراير بعون الله. وتمت بمشاركة واسعة من كبرى الشركات العالمية. أما ملف الغاز فقد منحته الدولة أولوية خاصة باعتباره عنصر حاسماً للاستقرار الاقتصادي والخدمي. وفي هذا الإطار جرى توقيع اتفاقية لتطوير حقلي ألف وهاء في المياه المغمورة لتعزيز إنتاج الغاز ودعم احتياطات السوق المحلي واستقراره، ودعم منظومة توليد الكهرباء والشبكة الوطنية إن شاء الله. السيدات والسادة، تنعقد هذه القمة بوصفها منصة عمل تنتج الاتفاقات الواضحة ومشاريع طويلة الأمد بعون الله. تشهد النسخة الرابعة توقيع حزمة من التفاهمات والاتفاقات ذات الأثر الاقتصادي المباشر. وفي مقدمة هذه التوقيعات بعون الله التعديل الأول على اتفاقية العودة الشركاء للمؤسسة الوطنية للنفط في شركة الواحة مع شركة توتال إنرجي الفرنسية وشركة كونوكوفيليبس الأمريكية، وهذا بفضل الله سبحانه وتعالى وجهود المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط. ويمتد هذا الاتفاق لمدة 25 سنة باستثمارات تجاوز 20 مليار دولار، ويستهدف رفع القدرة الإنتاجية إلى 850 ألف برميل يومياً ولله الحمد. كما تتوقع الدولة صافي إيرادات تتجاوز 367 أو 76 مليار دولار خلال فترة الاتفاقية. هذه الاتفاقية تشمل أعمال قمة مذكرة تفاهم مع شركة شيفرون الأمريكية لدراسة فرص الاستثمار في الاستكشاف وتطوير الحقول ورفع معدلات الإنتاج والاسترداد. كما تتضمن أعمال هذه القمة كذلك مذكرة تعاون مع الدولة المصرية في مجالات الاستكشاف والإنتاج والخدمات اللوجستية المصاحبة. هذا السيد الوزير حاضر معنا اليوم. وفيما يتعلق بالشراكة الأمريكية، تأتي التوقيعات ذات الطابع الأمريكي بإشراف مباشر من حكومة الوحدة الوطنية وبحضور السيد مسعد بولس كبير مستشاري الرئيس الأمريكي دونالد ترامب. كما يؤكد هذا الحضور مستوى الاهتمام الدولي بتوسيع الشراكة الاقتصادية مع ليبيا، ويعكس نهج الدولة في إدارة هذا الملف بوضوح ومسؤولية متناهية. كما تمضي الدولة في توسيع الشراكات الدولية، وقد أتاحت مؤسسة الوطنية للنفط تعزيز التعاون مع كبرى الشركات العالمية بما يدعم تعويض الاحتياطات وزيادة الإنتاج وتحقيق قيمة المضافة للاقتصاد الوطني الليبي بعون الله. كما أطلقت الدولة استراتيجية، وهي استراتيجية ليبيا للطاقات المتجددة، في إطار التزاماتها بمجابهة التغيير المناخي وخفض الانبعاثات الكربونية وتأمين مصادر طاقة متنوعة تلبي احتياجات الإنتاج المحلي أو الاستهلاك المحلي والقديم والبعيد. كما يسرني أن أؤكد أننا أطلقنا منذ عام بالشراكة مع عدد من مدراء شركات النفط الأجنبية مبادرة خضار ليبيا، وهو من شارك فيه مشكور ومشكور جدا، لزراعة 100 مليون شجرة التزاما مباشرا تجاه أبناء ليبيا وحقهم في بيئة نظيفة. وهذا يتطلب الكثير من الجهد. المبادرة انطلقت فعليا، وحددنا مواقع زراعتها والمجتمعات المحلية التي ستساهم في دعم هذا المشروع المهم، وهي جاهزة للتنفيذ، مع نتطلب أن تضاعف الوتيرة لأن تكتفي بالبدايات فقط. من هنا أدعوكم اليوم دعوة واضحة وصريحة، نريد مساهمات أكبر وجداول تنفيذ أسرع في هذا المشروع، ونتائج تقاس على الأرض خلال الأسابيع لا لأشهر. إخوتي، لكم مني كل الشكر وكل التقدير، ونتمنى للقائكم هذا كل التوفيق وكل الدعم. نحن مع الطاقة في ليبيا ومع التعاون العالمي والمحلي والإقليمي مع كل من يريد أن يتعاون معنا ويقف معنا بعون الله. هذا الشعب الطيب المعطاء يريد كل العالم أن يأتي لنا ويدعمنا وندعمه بعون الله، ونحن نريد الحياة مثلنا مثل أي شعب في العالم. لكم التقدير، ونشكر كل من تعاون مع هذا المؤتمر من جهات تنظيمية وشركات حاضرة. أهلا وسهلا بكم في ليبيا وفي طرابلس، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
ويشرفنا أن نستمع الآن إلى كلمة السيد مسعد بولوس مستشار رئيس الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية لشؤون الشرق الأوسط والمنطقة العربية.
We are honored to welcome the Senior Advisor to the President of the United States for Middle East and Arab Region Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Massad Boulos.
Assalamu alaikum and greetings to all of you. It's a pleasure and an honor to join you today for the 4th annual Libya Energy and Economic Summit. My warmest greetings to His Excellency, the Prime Minister Abdulhamid Al-Dbeibeh, NOC Chairman Suleman, Oil and Gas Minister Abdulsadek, and the honorable ministers from Egypt and Turkey, ConocoPhillips CEO, Ryan Lance, and the many great American companies represented here today, including Chevron, Texaco, and many others, as well as our dear friend to the United States, the Chairman and CEO of TotalEnergies, Mr. Patrick Pouyanné. This landmark event is more than a conference. It's a potential launchpad for Libya's return as a global energy superpower. Libya sits on a gold mine of potential, and the United States believes you are at the threshold of a historic opportunity to convert that extraordinary natural wealth into durable prosperity and to become a premier economic partner to the United States. This summit represents a pivot towards growth, investment, and action. Developing Libya's energy sector is not just a goal, it is an urgent necessity. As you all know, energy is this country's lifeblood. It drives the economy, creates jobs for young Libyans, and funds the infrastructure that makes a modern state function. Every additional barrel of oil produced and exported transparently is a deposit in the bank of Libya's stability and future prosperity. I am here today because President Trump sees the immense value in the US-Libya partnership. He sent me with a clear message. The United States is ready to do business, and we want Libya to succeed on a historic scale. When I visited Tripoli and Benghazi last summer, I saw the opportunities firsthand. As we expand US engagement, I can confidently say, on behalf of President Trump, the United States is doubling down on its work with Libyans in all regions to advance our shared interests. These aren't just diplomatic platitudes. The deal being announced today between Libya's National Oil Corporation and ConocoPhillips to expand their partnership to unprecedented heights, along with today's signing of a memorandum of understanding between the NOC and Chevron, makes one thing undeniable. The United States and its world-class companies are betting on Libya's future. By opening new opportunities for competitive international investment, Libya is signaling it's ready to play in the big leagues again. We strongly support Libya's ambitious target of 2 to 3 million barrels per day. by the end of the decade. We will do everything in our power to help you hit this milestone. To get there, leaders across the country must back the National Oil Corporation, ensuring it has the leadership and financial clout necessary to succeed. US companies are the catalyst for this success. They bring unique technologies, world-leading efficiency, and the kind of long-term capital that transforms economies. We're proud of the historic role American firms have played here, from Esso's discovery in the Ghadames Basin in 1957 to the giants operating here today. Simply put, when you partner with America, you are partnering with the gold standard. American products and services, whether in energy, finance, or healthcare, are unsurpassed in quality. Our team at the US mission and I are committed to strengthening these partnerships and ensuring US firms are with you every step of the way. However, revitalizing this industry isn't just about geology. It's about stability. It's about creating an environment where capital feels safe to stay for the long term. For Libya, this means unifying the country to ensure the kind of stability that investors demand. I am proud of how Libyans from east and west work together to unify institutions. But the job is not done. I was particularly heartened to see my friend, Masoud Suleman, officially appointed as NOC Chairman in September, and to see Libyan representatives from both sides sign the Unified Development Program agreement in November. These are the right moves. But let's be honest about what the market needs. Transparency and accountability aren't just bureaucratic boxes to check. They are the signals global markets wait for. Capital goes where it's safe and it flees from chaos. When revenues are collected, audited, and spent in ways the people can trust, the investment floodgates open. These agreements are your best chance to prove that Libya is truly open for business. Economic booms depend on security. Libyan leaders must take every possible step to unify security institutions so that the tragedies of the past remain in the past. The United States is leading from the front on this. We are pleased Libya will host part of the upcoming Flintlock military exercise this spring. This is a prime example of East and West coming together with the United States to build the security architecture necessary to protect your sovereignty and your economy. To build on this spirit of renewal, we encourage all Libyan political leaders to put aside differences, reject unilateral actions, and strengthen the national institutions that facilitate wealth creation. The United States will remain at the forefront of this effort. We want to see you unlock your immense potential. We want to see you succeed. Thank you again for the opportunity to join you today. Thank you.
السيدات والسادة، ننتقل الآن إلى لحظة محورية في مسار قطاع الطاقة، لحظة تجسد عمق الشراكات الدولية الراسخة.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the pivotal moment in this journey of the energy sector, a moment reflecting the depth of long-standing international partnerships.
يسرنا الإعلان الاحتفالي لتوقيع التعديل الأول على اتفاقية إعادة الدخول لامتيازات الواحة.
We are pleased to present the ceremonial announcement of the signing of the First Amendment to the Re-Entry Agreement for the Waha concession.
ويشرفنا أن ندعو أصحاب المعالي والسعادة للتفضل بالصعود إلى المنصة.
And it's an honor to invite the Excellencies to kindly proceed to the stage.
دولة السيد عبد الحميد الدبيبة رئيس مجلس وزراء دولة ليبيا.
His Excellency Mr. Abdulhamid Al-Dbeibeh, Prime Minister of Libya.
السيد مسعد بولس مستشار رئيس الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية.
Mr. Massad Boulos, Senior Advisor to the U.S. President.
السيد مسعود محمد سليمان رئيس مجلس إدارة المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط.
Mr. Masoud Suleman, Chairman of National Oil Corporation.
دكتور خليفة عبد الصادق وزير النفط والغاز.
Dr. Khalifa Abdulsadek, Oil and Gas Minister.
والسيد باتريك بويانيه الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة توتال انرجيز.
Mr. Patrick Poyane, Chief Executive Officer for TotalEnergies.
والسيد ريان ام لانس الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة كونوكوفيليبس.
And finally, Mr. Ryan Lance, CEO of ConocoPhillips.
ونشكر أصحاب المعالي والسعادة على بقائهم معنا، وننتقل الآن إلى توقيع مذكرة تفاهم بين المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط وشركة شيفرون.
We thank the Excellencies for remaining with us, and now we proceed to the signing of Memorandum of Understanding between the National Oil Corporation and Chevron.
يشرفنا دعوة السيد جو كوش مدير تطوير الأعمال في أنشطة الاستكشاف والإنتاج.
We are pleased to invite Mr. Joe Koch, Director of Upstream Business Development. Please join us in welcoming him.
شكرا للسيد مسعد بولس. وأيضا ننتقل الآن إلى توقيع مذكرة تفاهم ليبية مصرية للتعاون في مجالات النفط والغاز.
Thank you, Mr. Boulos. And now we proceed to the signing of the Libyan-Egyptian Memorandum of Understanding for cooperation in the fields of oil and gas.
يشرفنا دعوة معالي الدكتور خليفة عبد الصادق وزير النفط والغاز بدولة ليبيا، ومعالي المهندس كريم بدوي وزير البترول والثروة المعدنية بجمهورية مصر العربية للانضمام لرئيس الوزراء للإشراف على التوقيع. وندعو أيضا السيد مسعود سليمان رئيس المؤسسة الوطنية للنفط والمهندس وليد لطفي رئيس مجلس إدارة شركة بتروجيت.
May I invite Dr. Khalifa Abdulsadek, Minister of Oil and Gas, State of Libya, and Mr. Karim Badawi, Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources from Egypt. And to join the Prime Minister in overseeing the signing, we also would like to invite Mr. Massad Suleman, Chairman of the National Oil Corporation of Libya, and Engineer Walid Lutfi, Chairman of Petrojet Company.
إذن هذه الشراكات استراتيجية بالنسبة لقطاع النفط والغاز الليبي بحكم أنها سترفع وتضمن استدامة الإنتاج بالنسبة للحكومة الليبية. وبكل الأحوال يعني لدينا توجه من شركات النفط والغاز حول العالم لإيجاد فرص جديدة للاستثمار والنمو.
These signings go beyond formal agreements. They send a clear message of renewed international confidence in Libya's energy sector and in Libya's ability to move forward with the practical steps towards production growth, stability, and sustainable partnerships. They open new avenues for cooperation and reaffirm Libya's position as a trusted partner looking for the future with an investment-driven mindset and a strong focus on execution. We thank all parties involved and look ahead to the opportunities and partnerships that will follow.
طبعاً شركات النفط والغاز حول العالم تبحث عن فرص استراتيجية للنمو في هذا القطاع، وبالنسبة لليبيا هذه الاستثمارات ستكون وتقدم إيجابية كبيرة بالنسبة للقطاع وستخدم المصالح المشتركة بحكم التوجه من قبل الحكومة الليبية نحو زيادة مستويات الإنتاج. بكل الأحوال دعونا الآن مباشرة ننتقل إلى كلمة السيد باتريك بوياني الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة توتال إنرجيز.
And now we move to the address by Mr. Patrick Poyane, Chief Executive Officer of TotalEnergies. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join us in welcoming Mr. Poyane.
Excellencies, Mr. Abdulhamid Al-Dbeibeh, Prime Minister of the Government of National Unity, Excellency Mr. Khalifa Abdulsadek, Minister of Oil and Gas, Mr. Masoud Suleman, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the National Oil Corporations, Excellencies, distinguished partners, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to be today in Tripoli and to contribute to the success of this Libya Energy and Economic Summit. I hope, indeed, that it will be the testimony of the central role of Libya as a key energy producer. As it was very well said by all speakers before me, indeed, Libya is one of the top producers of oil in the world. And on behalf of TotalEnergies, I extend my gratitude to the Government of National Unity, the Ministry of Oil, and the National Oil Corporation for the partnership that once again materialized today. Libya's journey over the past years has been remarkable. Despite many challenges, Libya has managed to increase its oil production to 1.4 million barrels of oil per day, with a strong and pragmatic and realistic ambition to reach 2 million by the end of this decade. And TotalEnergies' intent is to directly contribute to it. This achievement reflects the resilience and the determination of Libya and all its citizens and the leadership of the National Oil Company. Today, as we have signed the first amendment of the War Re-entry Agreement, we celebrate not just a contract, but a renewed partnership, one built on trust, shared ambition, and a commitment to Libya for the long-term prosperity. I, by the way, note that today we celebrate, as TotalEnergies, our 70th anniversary, 70 anniversary of our presence in Libya. The company was first registered in Libya in 1956. More than a coincidence, I see that as a promise for a long and successful continuation of the partnership between Libya and TotalEnergies. Khalifa has just have one regret. We just signed an agreement for an extension of 25 years. If it had been 30 years, we would have reached 100 years. So maybe we could still amend it. TotalEnergies shares, no, I joke. TotalEnergies shares the opinion, indeed, that Libya has a world-class asset base and that Libya's full potential is yet to be exploited. Total is very blessed by very large oil resources, whether already discovered or yet to be found. Libya holds the second largest hydrocarbon resources in Africa, and by the way, in 2025, with 1.4 million barrels of oil per day equivalent, it was the highest annual level over a decade and the largest one for Africa in 2025. But the recovery is not over. More is to come, whether by increasing the production of already operating fields, working on new projects as we intend to do it, to boost Libya potential, or by relaunching exploration, which will come soon with the new round. This is the first challenge for all of us, more energy. The second challenge is, of course, less emissions for our industry. And beyond up and downs, the world is watching how energy leaders respond to climate change. We, both National Oil Corporation of Libya and TotalEnergies, have adhered to the Oil and Gas Decarbonization Charter that sets ambitious goals for net zero upstream methane emissions and for stop routine flaring by 2030. These commitments remain firmly grounded, and we are happy to contribute to reduce emissions. Fairly implemented, it also means recovering wasted gas, which for better usage, in particular for domestic use, or for export to European markets, or for reinjection for better oil production stimulation. And I'm here today to reaffirm that TotalEnergies' commitment to stand together with all our Libyan partners to effectively meet these challenges: more energy, less emissions. And indeed, I will not say all about what we do here, but beyond the production of our fields of our concessions in 2025, where we hit records, 380,000 barrels per day in the Waha concession and 325,000 barrels per day in Sharla, Total participated to half of the production of the country in 2025. And we intend to do more. In 2026, very soon, by end February, beginning of March, we will launch the early phase production of the Mabruk oil field. Mabruk's surface installations were severely damaged in 2015. We took the decision to restart, to rebuild it, and we will produce 25,000 barrels per day. And Khalifa, again, I'm committed to come back to Libya very soon to inaugurate these new facilities and this new production with you and His Excellency Prime Minister. We also intend in 26 to take the FID of the North Giallo development, which will be a larger development which will target 100,000 barrels per day. The agreement we just signed today indeed paves the floor to launch this new development of North Giallo. It's unlocked billions of barrels, and 100,000 barrels per day will represent an investment of around $5 billion. I invite all contractors in the room, from international, either international or Libyans, to participate directly to these new projects and to the success of the projects, and together to deliver it within schedule and budget, in compliance with the highest technical, environmental, and safety standards. Together with the NOC, we have advanced design, procurement, contracting step by step, and today's amendment marks a decisive milestone on the way to the FID. In exploration, last but not least, of course, exploration is fundamental in the oil and gas industry because it's a guarantee that the performance is long-standing. It provides firm grounds for the production levels to remain high and steady. We have relaunched exploration on our Shara concession, and we'll do it on the Waha concession as well. And I can affirm you today that TotalEnergies will participate, will submit a bid to the next round, which was announced by the Prime Minister today, in next February. I hope it will be a successful bid, but always with TotalEnergies. So I cannot finish my speech without speaking about another energy, the renewable energy, and in particular solar, because Libya solar irradiation is among the highest in the world. It represents a huge opportunity that is yet to be valorized. Because with such an irradiation, solar is an ideal substitute for fuel and gas for generation of power for the domestic market. What could even imagine that its geographical location would allow Libya maybe one day to export electricity to Europe? Secondly, because the gas thus freed up can also be exported or used for domestic infrastructure, making more electricity here. As a multi-energy company, TotalEnergies could not fail to promote the valorization of this untapped and renewable resource. With our partners, Repsol and GCOL, we are progressing on a 500 megawatt solar project south of Misrata. We have progressed already the key enablers for these projects to become a reality: the land, the grid connections, the permits, the offtake of the electricity produced. The final completion of these elements will pave the way for another final investment decisions, which we expect to be made in 2026, along for the swift progress of these major energy projects. The 500 megawatt Misrata solar project will be a pioneering investment in renewable energy solar and a direct contribution to the objective of 4 gigawatts set by His Excellency Prime Minister. Its success could open the gates for other similar projects in the country, and Total history in Libya is not yet over. So again, 2026 is really beginning with excellent news with the signature of this agreement, and will come with the start of the Mamuk oil field, the FID of the North Diallo, and the FID of our Misrata Solar. Let me conclude by expressing my personal commitment, and that of all TotalEnergies teams, to our partnership with Libya. We stand ready to mobilize our financial resources, technical expertise, and project management excellence to support Libya's ambitions. Let me say a word to our partners of the National Oil Corporations and ConocoPhillips to tell them that, and of Repsol as well, and all the others, that we are really very happy to work here in Libya with you. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for allowing TotalEnergies to be part of this wonderful industry story in Libya. Shukran jazilan, merci beaucoup, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick Poyane, for this very insightful information. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome the address by Mr. Ryan M. Lance, Chief Executive Officer of ConocoPhillips.
Thank you, Mr. Poyane. And now we would like to welcome to stage for his keynote address الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة كونوكو فيليبس السيد ريان M. Lance.
Well, thank you very much, and let me extend my thank you to His Excellency Prime Minister Abdulhamid and certainly His Excellency Khalifa for inviting me here today, and a special thanks to the Special Advisor to President Trump. Thank you for your leadership and in promoting American companies through that. And finally, His Excellency Suleman, Chairman of the NOC, thank you for your leadership as well. It's important as we try to move this agreement forward today. So this business is a competitive business, and so sorry, Patrick, ConocoPhillips has been here 71 years, but we won't quibble over that last year a little bit. And we certainly look forward to the continuing the partnership that we have with TotalEnergies and with the National Oil Company here in Libya. Certainly the government has taken great steps to rebuild the country, the economy, and the energy sector, including those to improve the operating environment here in Libya and to compete for capital and expertise from companies like ours. The agreement that you just saw us sign here today to modernize the terms in the Oahu concession is a great example of that. Libya recently achieved a milestone, recovering crude oil production to 1.4 million barrels a day. Now, more work and investment is required to not only stabilize that, but grow that into the future. But the country is well positioned to deliver oil and gas to Europe and around the world, helping ensure European energy security as well as global energy security. And gas now has become quite valuable. It's a cleaner burning fuel and will help meet the energy demand here domestically in Libya and for your North African neighbors. And as a potential, given its LNG nature, to really be delivered to markets around the world. We certainly expect global natural gas and LNG markets to be showing strong demand for the decades to come. And as new energies become available, the old ones don't drop off. The system is additive. So meeting demand is a long-term effort, and Libya can be an important source of future global energy security. So as at the Waha concession, as we progress, we rebuild, and we develop the Libyan energy sector, we urge our partners to continue to prioritize international competitiveness like they have done today. This will certainly expand and attract investment, as seen in the recent upstream bid round, which we'll participate in as well and hope for a positive outcome as well. So certainly at ConocoPhillips, we're committed to meeting global energy demand through the most disciplined capital allocation and strongest execution in the business. And I think this summit showcases Libya's tremendous energy and economic potential. And I welcome the opportunity for our company to help you build upon that partnership. Together, we can apply our technological, managerial, and production expertise to grow the business. And Libya can help provide a more stable and reliable source of oil and gas supply to the global markets. So I look forward to continuing our work together. So thank you.
ومشاهدينا طبعا نشكر إذن السيد راين أم لانس. والآن ننتقل إلى كلمة للسيد سيجي مايسنر رئيس قطاع الحفر العالمي بشركة نابورس للصناعات.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan Lance, CEO of ConocoPhillips, and now with the address by Mr. Sigi Meissner, President Global Drilling at Nabors Industries.
Your Excellency, Mr. Abdulhamid Al-Dbeibeh, Mr. Khalifa Abdulsadek, Mr. Masoud Suleman, Chairman of the National Oil Corporation, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to speak on behalf of ADC neighbors at this summit here in Tripoli today. Allow me to express my appreciation to the Prime Minister and his government for hosting and organizing this gathering, which brings together distinguished experts and participants from across the oil and gas sector and from many countries. Personally, I'm very excited to be back in Libya. Last time I was here was in 2007, visiting some neighbors' rigs in the field, and also I have very good memories working here in Libya in the early 80s as a young engineer on Hani and Luke and Deutag rigs. ADC neighbors are proud of our growing partnership in Libya. Today, the enterprise operates more than 30 drilling and workover rigs across the country, supported by highly trained and experienced crews. It's actually exciting to be here at this summit and feel the spirit and the momentum, the positive outlook, and as such, our enterprise has scheduled 2 additional rigs to start in 2026. Neighbors, as a leading international company in the oil and gas industry and in partnership with ADC, are committed to delivering an advanced technology, operational excellence, and global expertise to support a new phase of growth for the sector in Libya. Achieving the national target of producing up to 2 million barrels per day is an ambitious challenge. ADC neighbors stand ready to do their part to meet this challenge. Reaching this target will generate increased revenues for the country and strengthen its role, fueling global industries. Success, however, depends on two essential conditions: a stable and reliable working environment and a timely and adequate flow of funds to ensure uninterrupted operations. Once again, I extend my sincere gratitude to the government of Libya and the National Oil Corporation for their support and partnership. I look forward to the presentations and discussions throughout this conference, which I am confident will broaden our shared vision and help identify the investments needed to upgrade existing infrastructure and develop new capabilities across the country. I believe that the outcomes of this meeting will guide us towards a new phase of investment, development, and long-term sustainability for Libya's oil and gas industry. Thank you.
Tout à l'heure. Ils sont en train de nous mettre les mics. Ils sont en train de nous mettre les mics.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister Al-Dbeibeh, Excellency Special Advisor to the US President, ministers, captains of the industry, what an honor to have another edition of the Libyan Energy and Economic Summit. It's always an honor to be in this great country. Someone asked me, what is the state of the Libyan energy industry? I would say in simple terms, it is resilient. Resilient because in spite of the insurmountable odds, we keep producing. We keep driving energy. I think that is evident when you see Mr. Patrick Pouyanné very, very happy. It's very difficult to see him smile, but Libya makes him smile. Mr. Pouyanné, thank you. Last year, in October, I was lucky to be in London, and Ryan Lyons was named Oil and Gas Executive of the Year. He talked about who has drilled a dry well, and one of the executives talked about exploration. I think Libya provides that opportunity for new exploration, for new drilling, and that is what it means, especially for the African energy industry. New projects that is going to shape the future, but also new entrepreneurs that are going to deliver the energy that not just Africa needs, but energy that Libya needs and the world needs. And it's very befitting to salute TotalEnergies. I know they don't get the agreement to 100 years, but 95 years is still good. But Mr. Pouyanné has always been something of a hero, not just to many Libyans, but to many Africans. His resilience, his continuous support for Africa. At a critical time in global energy dialogues, when it was very difficult to speak up for gas, to speak up for oil and gas, he stayed firm, continued challenging a narrative that believed that Africa and its energy poverty issues need to be addressed, and spoke against the exclusionary rules in Europe that said you could finance gas in Europe, but not in Africa. We thank you for that. That was big. That was big. Because sometimes you need a profiling courage to really address these issues. And when nobody said it, he stood for us. Mr. Pouyanné, we thank you. And thank you for that. As we push forward, and we're going to hear a very good discussion from the ministers, creating that enabling environment, we must pay attention. We're not looking for capital to come from where it's not welcome. We're looking for capital everywhere, but Libya also has that big opportunity to shape the future by continuing to create an enabling environment to welcome capital so that this place can be the best place for oil and gas capital in Africa, not just in Africa, but the world. And Mr. Prime Minister, we're going to continue encouraging you to do that. As the chair of the African Energy Chamber, I've moved around the world. Sometimes I get tired talking about investments in Africa and pushing African energy poverty. But as I'm going to say this, and I will still say it everywhere I go, it is very important to put energy poverty at the core of what we do as an industry. Tonight, 600 million Africans go to bed without electricity, 900 million without clean cooking technologies, most of them women. More than 700,000 have to burn biomass, have to die because they're burning biomass to get clean cooking, to get fuels. That is not acceptable. And as we gather here today, we have an amazing opportunity to start shaping that. And I think Libya offers that opportunity that we could produce the energy that we need in Africa, but also the energy that we need around the world to guarantee global energy security. That is why as we push, and Prime Minister talked about pushing clean energies and a just transition, we do believe that we have to transition. But where we transitioning from the dark to the dark? I go around Libya, nobody wants to breathe clean air in the dark. People want to ensure that we have the right kind of energies, the energies that drives for the future, energies that would make us drive humanity and to keep civilization walking. We cannot back away from that. As I close, we look at the energies that we're going to need. Baseload energy, not just for Africa. At a time when we need to drive data centers, at the times when we're looking at competing for the race on AI, we're going to need the baseload energy that drive it. I want to urge you to continue providing those investable climates, the right kind of enabling environment to keep us going. And I tell you this, you, the oil industry, and in Libya, should not be ashamed of your oil industry. Never stop apologizing for producing oil and gas. And from the African Energy Chamber, we ask you to commit to one thing only that we've always committed ourselves: drill, baby, drill. That's going to be the way forward, and I thank you for having me to speak to you today. God bless you.
حضورنا الكريم، لا يمكن اليوم الحديث عن تنمية قطاع النفط والغاز حسين دون الحديث عن أهمية الشراكات الاستراتيجية. الموضوع لا يتعلق فقط بتسريع نمو الإنتاج أو حتى تسريع النمو الاقتصادي ودعم الوظائف، ولكن أيضاً حسين نتحدث عن نقل المعرفة، الترانسفير اوف نو هاو، وهذا ما تسعى إليه الدول في المنطقة.
بالفعل، وخصوصا ليبيا، يعني نتحدث من الناحية الاستراتيجية هذا التطور الذي نشهده، وهذه العقود التي تم إبرامها اليوم تؤكد بأن ما نشهده اليوم هو تحول واضح في ليبيا من حيث المشاريع، من حيث طبعا الكثير من الأمور. سأتحول اللغة الإنجليزية الآن. So from a strategy perspective, the importance of these agreements today, they lie in their ability to translate vision into projects, and we've seen this today in these projects, and of course these agreements act as a key economic catalyst today.
بالفعل، وهذا ما يقودنا إلى الجلسة الحوارية الأولى في قمة ليبيا للطاقة والاقتصاد هذا العام، التي ستركز على الشراكات الاستراتيجية، تموضع ليبيا في قلب قطاع الطاقة العالمي.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now we proceed to the first panel discussion of this summit, and this is titled "The Strategic Partnerships: Positioning Libya at the Heart of Global Energy."
بكل الأحوال يجب الإشارة إلى أن هذه الجلسة تأتي في سياق تحولات متسارعة يشهدها قطاع الطاقة العالمي، تبرز الشراكات الاستراتيجية كأداة رئيسية لتعزيز الاستقرار ودعم أمن الإمدادات وتطوير منظومات الطاقة على المدى الطويل.
And this session, ladies and gentlemen, take place amid ongoing transformations in the global world energy, where strategic partnerships have become a central pillar for stability, supporting energy security and, of course, long-term system development.
وهو الأمر الذي تسعى إليه ليبيا حسين، وهو ترسيخ موقعها كشريك موثوق يقوم على الوضوح المؤسسي، المصالح المتبادلة ورؤية متوازنة تجمع بين زيادة الإنتاج والاستدامة.
And within this context, Libya seeks to consolidate its role as a reliable partner, grounded in institutional clarity and mutual interest, and a balanced approach to production growth and sustainability.
تدير هذه الجلسة الحوارية السيدة أمينة بكر، وهي الصحفية الدولية المتخصصة في شؤون الطاقة.
And of course, moderating this panel discussion, Ms. Amina Bakr, international energy journalist, and I would like now to invite the distinguished participants to take place in this panel discussion. We have His Excellency Dr. Khalifa Abdulsadek, Minister of Oil and Gas, Libya.
وأيضا ندعو معالي السيد البرسلان بيرقتار، وهو وزير الطاقة والموارد الطبيعية في جمهورية تركيا.
And we have His Excellency Mr. Karim Badawi, Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources, Arab Republic of Egypt.
وأيضا معالي السيدة غاودينتيا كرون، وهي نائب وزير الصناعة والمناجم والطاقة بجمهورية نامبيا.
Please join us in welcoming the speakers on stage.
Here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Such a pleasure being back here in Tripoli, and so much has happened since a year has passed. I was just talking to Dr. Khalifa right now about the progress which has made. It's such an honor for me to be moderating this session with so many ministers, and we're going to hear about the progress, but also cooperation that could happen between countries in this region. So I'm just going to jump into the questions, and since Dr. Khalifa is sitting right next to me here, Dr. Khalifa, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
A year ago, I was here, and we were talking about targets. We were talking about ambitions. We were talking about steps that many would say, oh, it's never going to be realized. It's not going to happen. Today, I come here, and deals are being signed. Investment is being made, and we're talking about even larger targets. Talk us through the success story. What happened in a span of a year? What reforms were taken to see so many international companies come here and sign with Libya?
Well, thank you very much, Amina, for having us on the panel. Thank you very much for coming back to join the conference in Tripoli again. And I would like to begin by thanking everybody to either come back or decided to come and join this very important conference. As we've planned last year, we've decided to pick up production output, and we delivered on this. So we've witnessed the highest production rate in terms of oil production, which is almost average 1.375 million barrels per day, which is the highest in the past 12 years. So that's the first thing that we promised last year, and we deliver on. And the second one was the, create investment in a new project. And we've put some of the fields that we decided to bring on stream. So those fields, our Prime Minister mentioned a sample of them, Iraun, Midkhandoush, and Khair, and Sinaun, and other fields. So that's another one, that's another testimony. And the third one, which is probably the testimony of the stability and the recovery of the sector from the past few years, which is the bid round. So we decided to launch the bid round. We did launch the bid round back in March last year. And we're expecting to announce the results of the bid round around February this year, the second week of February. Participation was great. We've had almost 50 companies participating in the bid round. And most of those companies are first-tier international companies from all over the world. So I guess, the forward we're looking for the energy sector in Libya looks very promising. Last year also we promised that we're going to improve the fiscal terms for some of the existing partners. So we did improve the fiscal terms for Waha's concession partners. And I guess we're looking forward now to pick up production from what is now 360,000 barrels per day to 850,000 barrels per day over the next 5 years. And over the course of the extension we've awarded to our partners today with the agreement, we're thinking of, we're estimating to spend and invest $20 billion. So it's a huge project, it's a huge investment. And with this, we're attracting, according to the keynote from our partners here from ConocoPhillips and TotalEnergies, we're attracting most of the service companies to come join all these interesting developments. And that would create opportunities for locals, for local companies, for local economy, and would give a chance for young youth to join the industry as well.
And Dr. Khalifa, just to kind of add to something that you said, you changed the terms, the financial terms in terms of the fields that you were offering. Was it just a matter of changing that, or was there more required?
Well, I mean, it was just like an adjustment for the current fiscal terms by adding to the margin, to the net margin that those companies will make on the investment. And we've decided to do it on a performance-driven, so they would, deliver a project and they get rewarded based on the project they delivered. And as well as we extended the contract period for the next 25 years.
And I can see everybody's happy. I can see from Pouyanné's speech and also Ryan's speech that they're very content to be starting projects in Libya once more.
We're very happy, they're very happy, and we're sending a message across to all over the world that Libya is back to the first league in the oil and gas and the energy sector in general. And we're attracting more international oil companies to come and invest in Libya.
So I would take it that the promise of 1.6 by the end of this year, that's going to happen?
Inshallah, that's going to happen. So our plan is to increase output to 1.6 from current 1.4. And the plan is to do this through redevelopment of the brown fields and some of the green fields that we're trying to bring on stream. NOC's, as presented by the NOC Chairman earlier on, has a very ambitious plan, yet realistic plan to deliver those from current producing fields by redeveloping those fields. Retrieving shut-in wells, drilling infill wells, as well as improving the gathering network and the service facilities and the gathering network and the pipeline systems. So I think it's very doable. We think hopefully by the end of this year, we should be able to reach the 1.6 million barrels.
And of course, this needs a lot of cooperation and more companies and investment to happen. And I'm interested now to hear from countries in the region, Your Excellency. Turkey has achieved significant progress in both renewable energy development and domestic oil and gas exploration, while also expanding its regional energy partnerships. So I'm interested in finding out from you, how could Turkey cooperate more with Libya and help Libya in its mission?
Sure. Thank you very much. And I would like to also thank His Excellency Prime Minister for this kind invitation. And also I would like to congratulate him for his leadership and vision for Libya. But before jumping into your question, I would like to say a few words about what are our policies in terms of addressing our challenges that we are facing each and every day, our country, and most likely we're going to face these challenges over the next few years and decades to come. Number one priority for us is obviously energy security. Because demand in Turkey is growing. It used to grow in the last 2 decades, and our forecast for next 3 decades, our electricity demand will be tripled. And frankly, AI, data centers, cooling, and other sorts of demand increase, not fully quantified for this demand growth. So most likely it's going to grow even more than triple. So that's why we need to address this growing demand. And the second thing we're trying to address is to reduce our import dependence. In terms of gas, oil, coal, we import a lot of energy from around the globe. And the third thing, we have a very strong and very ambitious climate goals that the President Erdogan set very clearly. In beginning of 2050, Turkish economy will be carbon neutral economy. So the policies that we are developing to address all these 3 challenges. So that's why, as you said rightly, the renewables are playing a major role in this journey. We have a great potential in solar, wind, geothermal, and biogas, and every single year we are adding 8 to 9 gigawatts of new solar and wind energy into our energy mix. But definitely, we have a very ambitious and comprehensive program on energy efficiency. But also, Turkey would like to have nuclear energy into energy mix. We have we have a program for 4 nuclear reactors now under construction in Akkuyu. But also, we would like to have 8 additional nuclear reactors into our energy mix over the next 20 decades. And Turkey would like to have at least 20 gigawatts of nuclear power generation by the mid-century. In addition to existing conventional large-scale projects, we have also small modular reactor nuclear program.
And when are they going to be completed?
Sorry?
The model reactors, when are they going to come online?
Yes, hopefully this year we are going to be, first reactor will be online, and then we'll generate electricity from our first nuclear reactor. But let me tell you about a little bit oil and gas strategy that we are developing, and where the Libya and Turkey cooperation in this sphere. Our national oil companies is producing around like 300,000 barrels of oil and gas. But last decade, we started to develop a new strategy and focused on our offshore and onshore fields. And we were able to see the first results, and currently we are producing almost 60,000 barrels oil equivalent of gas from our Sakarya gas field in the Black Sea. And this year, it's another milestone. We are going to double the production. It will be 120,000 oil equivalent production of gas. And in 2028, our current production will be quadrupled. And also we are producing, Gabar field is around 80,000 barrels of daily production. But we have a greater potential, we believe, with the international cooperation. And that's why we are in Libya, and we have a very strong, ambitious targets and joint effort with our colleagues in here, that also Turkey will be very active in offshore and onshore in Libya soon. But besides Libya, we have a good understanding of Chevron, Exxon, and some international companies, international oil companies, that we would like to be more active over the next few years and decades, the other parts of the world. We acquired a couple of blocks in Pakistan, offshore blocks and onshore blocks. We are in talks, some projects in, again, Libya, Iraq, Kazakhstan, and different parts of the world. And our aim is to make our national oil company, which will be 500,000 barrel of oil and gas producer in 2028, and our next target will be 1 million barrel of oil and gas producers in the world. But for that, we need to open up our partnership and cooperation between like competent companies. And last but not least, also I would like to emphasize another thing. During this period of time, we are also trying to diversify our current supply portfolio. That's why you see Turkey is signing long-term LNG deals with mainly US exporters and US suppliers. So diversity is the key thing to achieve also long-term sustainable energy development.
Is the current environment of complicated geopolitics impacting or driving countries like Turkey and other countries to seek further diversification? Do you think that this is a push?
Absolutely. I mean, diversification is key thing, especially in the environment that we are operating. There are so many geopolitical tensions, concerns, and every single day the developments are affecting our energy business. But somehow we are trying to find our way, our own way. I call it like a Turkish way, Turkish path to navigate in these turmoil times.
Absolutely. Minister Badawi, we're going to come to you, and the question is very similar. Just if you could lay out for us Egypt's strategy in general, how to become more energy efficient, what are the main projects that are being focused on, and again, what areas do you see for cooperation specifically with Libya and with a focus on gas?
Very good. Thank you very much. And first of all, it's a great pleasure to be here in the Libya Energy and Economic Summit, and a great appreciation, for His Excellency, Abdulhamid Al-Dbeibeh for the invitation, for Egypt to be here, and also a special appreciation as well to Dr. Khalifa, because I promised him that I will, be coming and so forth. So first of all, when we look at the, Egypt has gone through a lot, and when we look in terms on the petroleum and mineral resources, we really kind of worked on a 6 key pillar, strategy, which we believe actually has served Egypt very well over the last, 18 months and positioning itself, for the future. And again, really our presence here is really, with an aim to really help as well, our friends and partners here in Libya in terms of being able to collaborate on those fronts. And really the first part of our strategy, falls under the upstream front, and really how we can provide the petroleum products, for the people in Egypt. And we have a market of 120 million people, to deliver petroleum products, for all the various, aspects of the, of the sectors. And hence really the focus was on how we can revitalize the upstream sector to focus on increasing production from our existing fields with proper reservoir management, how we can really accelerate exploration activity to be able to identify future reserves to be able to be brought back online and so forth. And we focused a lot in terms on how we can, foster an environment which is very attractive, from our partners from around the world, and to make sure that, we look at all the different economics and to appreciate that the economics for the different, fields, different areas of, of operations are different, and how we can really have all our fiscal, terms and our incentives geared towards making, for our partners to lower down their cost per, per scuff of gas, or lowering down their cost per barrel of oil. And through the, all the energy reforms that we've put in place over the last, 18 months, now we are facing really kind of a recovery in terms on our production, in terms on oil, and as well in terms on gas, with mitigation of the decline, which Egypt had faced, since 2021. But moreover, really kind of inflow of investments into acceleration of activities for exploration activities over the next few years, where we will have in 2026 actually a record exploration year with 101 wells, of exploration, 14 of them in the Mediterranean, the rest, in the Western Desert, in the Nile Delta, in the different aspects of Egypt and so forth. In addition to something that was mentioned this morning as well, a big focus on seismic activity to be able to help our investors and our partners to de-risk their investments, and at the same time to be able to be able to put forward investment opportunities for them. So this is on the upstream, on the upstream front. The second part of our strategy is really to focus on infrastructure. Egypt is blessed, over the last, decades in one of the unique, infrastructures in terms on the petrochemical front, in terms of the refinery capabilities, in terms of export terminals, for gas, and now as well with an infrastructure actually of FSRUs to also provide optionalities, right, for inflow of gas into the network, and essentially how we are really enabling this infrastructure to be able to help our partners to monetize, those molecules where they bring the most value, and in terms of being able to provide value-added derivatives in the petrochemicals and in the industry, which is vastly growing in Egypt and in the world, with a 50, countries market, for our exports. At the same time, in the refinery front, to be able to bring in not only for our local market, but also with Euro 5 standard, in terms of petroleum products, also for the European market and other markets. And at the same time, in terms of how we can help not only our partners in Egypt, but also our partners in the region to monetize their gas, assets through the Egyptian terminals for exports, or for the market.
And when would that happen, Minister? When would self-sufficiency happen, and when can exports happen?
So we're working actually on both. This is why we're really working on Egypt as as an energy hub in terms of having molecules flowing in and molecules flowing out. And this is one thing which is very important. As we speak today, we're having 2 cargoes of being exported every month, in addition to be able to provide our local market through our network in terms of connected pipelines and existing infrastructure, because it's all about how to monetize those molecules where they're bringing the most value. The third pillar for us is actually on the mining sector. And again, the mining sector is very important, and Libya actually has also a bright future as well in the mining sector, and the energy need is very important for this sector. And hence really how we are working towards kind of making a leap change on the mineral front, not only in the endowment perspective, but in terms on mineral industries. And then our fourth pillar is really focusing on the energy mix. And this has been talked a lot, today. It is very important for any country to be able to maximize the value from its natural resources. Today, Egypt is, is burning 60% of gas to power our, our electricity stations. And what we're really kind of driving now is we've revisited our energy strategy to have 42% of our energy mix to be from renewable by 2030. And we're very much, well on the way to achieve this target through solid projects and investments taking place actually as we speak. And really my colleague from Minister of Electricity and Renewable is doing also an amazing job in terms of bringing this energy renewable, which includes, wind, solar, and as well also 5 gigawatt as well of nuclear power as well, coming in before 2030. The fourth pillar for us is also very important in terms of the fifth pillar is the human element. We can have the best of the resources, best of infrastructure, best of energy mix. However, really looking after our people is very important, and the health and the safety and the environment really and the climate, for all our people in terms of operational stakeholder is also very important for the sector to be able to strive. And then sixth, but not last, is collaboration. Collaboration is key for us to be able to unlock the full potential within Egypt itself, but actually for the region and with our partners, both from the private sector as investors and also really our friends and partners within the region to be able to unlock the full potential, leveraging Egypt location, as a cornerstone between, the Middle East, Europe and Africa, and how we can foster collaboration, with North Africa. And our presence really here is really a very important sign that we are here to help really our partners in Libya to be able to unlock their full potential, leveraging all the capabilities, right, and expertise that we do have that will expand also a little bit more, throughout the rest of the question. But we are firmly committed to really helping our partners in the region to be able to unlock the full potential of the subsurface and to monetize those molecules where they bring the most value, leveraging the infrastructure that we have and leveraging the capabilities and the partnership that we're forging.
Yeah, absolutely. And what better cooperation and collaboration to happen between neighboring states. And I'm Egyptian, by the way, so yeah, so very, very happy seeing this cooperation happen between two very brotherly and neighboring states. Honorable Goentia, I will come to you now, and whenever I go to conferences related to investment in Africa, they always say Namibia is the rising star when it comes to upstream projects, investments. So I want you to walk us through some of the achievements that you've made so far on the upstream sector, and what are the kind of lessons that a country like Libya, for example, could learn from Namibia's experience?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. First of all, I would like to thank His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Libya, His Excellency, the Minister of Oil and Gas of Libya, for inviting Namibia. Namibia is very successful because recently we discovered the oil in Namibia, in the Orange Basin, under the leadership of TotalEnergies, Shell, and then BW Kutu, and so forth. So the reason why Namibia is good is we have good self-explanatory regulatory environment and policies, and then the policies, and then we are investors friendly. Namibia is a very stable country when it comes to peace and stability. And the investors, so we are basically promoting investors in Namibia, and then always having regular engagements with them when it comes to investing in Namibia. We offer fiscal transparency and stability mechanisms where the investors is paying 5% royalty, 35% of 35% of the 35% of the petroleum production to Namibia. So the takeaway for Libya is we have these fiscal policies in Namibia where we have this type of incentives for the investors. So they must also try to have these policies to attract investors in Namibia, in Libya. Recently, our new elected president is in the office now for 1 year. She also established the petroleum unit in her office, the upstream petroleum unit, because we are very new with oil and gas. Currently, we are not dealing with oil and gas. So since this new discovery, she established the oil and gas unit in her office, which will be the oversight of the regulation, issuing the EBL licenses, also to avoid bureaucracy in the system, come up with transparency. She do not want to waste time on the issuing of the licenses. Currently, that function was overseen by Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy, which is currently moved to the Office of the Presidency. As a new country, we do not have laws except the Petroleum Exploration Act that we have, which our government wants to amend now, also to put it under the Office of the President for the issuing of the licenses. Normally, this system is time consuming. The other issue is we have the natural resources, but we don't have the skills, we don't have the money. So therefore, as Namibian government, we usually say the investors must come to our country. The conditions that we come up with is that one of the issues is the local content policy. So we pursue consulting the public broadly, which is almost finalized in all the regions of the country. So the local content policy, there you can employ the local people, you must buy locally, and we want to add value to our products because we don't want to export raw material as we used to. So we want to add value. And then skills transfer. Currently, we don't have the skills. So if we want the skills to be transferred, and whoever wants to invest in Namibia, we want to place an understudy for you to transfer the skills. So whenever the investors leave our country, at least that skills must be transferred through the understudies.
Sure.
And mostly it is for the work permits. So when you apply for the work permit, normally it takes long because of certain reasons. But the condition is, as long as we have an understudy under you, the work permit depends on the requirement from the investor. It can be between 2, 3 years to 5 years. So based on your request, then that can be provided to the investor. One of the other incentives that we come up also with is the business visas. So we discovered oil in our country. So for you to come and invest in Namibia due to the discoveries that we make, that we also come up with a business visa for 5 years. So depending on the time that you spend on the project, it can also be extended for another 2 to 3 years. Yes.
Excellent. Well, a lot of good takeaways there for, how to cut through red tape, increasing investment, training staff. All of these are great. And the most important takeaway is that a stable and safe environment is needed for investment. So thank you so much for sharing those points with us. Secretary General, I want to come to you now and talk about your 2026 action plan, which emphasizes that the 5 billion Africa Energy Bank as a solution to Western divestments for hydrocarbons. So my question is to you, how can Libya and its neighbors use this vehicle to structure regional risk-sharing mechanisms that can stimulate private capital across the border and invest in infrastructure?
Yeah. Thank you, Amina. First of all, thank you for this highly pertinent question, which directly addresses one of the most critical challenges and innovative solutions for Africa's energy future and our quest for energy sovereignty. Before giving an answer to this important question, allow me to extend my great thanks to esteemed member country, and on top of that, Excellency Prime Minister Mr. Dbeibeh for his warmest welcome, and for all the organization committee to make this event occur. As you know, I have just assumed duty as the Secretary General of APO, and one of the first advice my predecessor, Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, gave me is to assure that APO is always represented in member country energy events. It has become a tradition that every year, since inception, APO participates to the list. This is the first member country energy event that I am attending as the Secretary General of APO. I would like to thank personally His Excellency Dr. Khalifa, Ministry of Oil and Gas of the State of Libya, for his continuous support to the success of APO. Now, coming back, Amina, to the question. For me, what applies for Libya and its neighboring countries applies for any African oil and gas producing countries in terms of cooperation on transborder or joint energy project and infrastructure. The promise regarding the Africa Energy Bank as a strategic partnership between APO and Afrexim Bank in response to Western divestment from hydrocarbon is indeed accurate and fundamental to APO 26 action plan. The African Energy Bank embodies our collective resolve to reclaim financial sovereignty over our strategic energy resources. From May 2022 to June 24, after intensive negotiation between APO and Afrexim Bank, the idea to create this bank has become a reality. With the signing of the establishment documents by the two promoters, with the signature and ratification of Ghana and Nigeria, the establishment agreement became a treaty. The bank has a host country, which is Nigeria, and the offices since last year ending are already fully equipped for the commencement of activities. This is an opportunity to commend my predecessor and the managing director of IE Corp and the teams of the Secretariat for huge work done so far in the establishment of the bank. By the way, in 1 week time, Nigeria will hand over the offices of the bank to the promoters during an APO ministerial visit led by the APO President, His Excellency Mr. Koulibaly Sango-Fowa Mamadou, Minister of Mines, Petroleum and Energy of the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire. Funds have been raised for the bank, and we are currently working on financial statutory arrangement and logistics to ensure the launch of the bank in the next coming months. Excellencies, distinguished participants, allow me to recall that the Africa Energy Bank is an independent, supranational institution created to bridge the growing energy finance gap in Africa. The Africa Energy Bank was established with a mandate to finance the development of Africa energy sector, while supporting member countries in energy transition projects that meet its financial criteria, as Namibia said just a few minutes ago. As a development finance institution, IEB is well positioned to provide tailored banking services not only to address the fossil fuel and infrastructure gaps, but also to stimulate industrialization, create jobs, and strengthen macroeconomic stability across our continent. For countries like Libya and its neighbors, the African Energy Bank is not merely a financial institution. It is a transformative vehicle designed to unlock immense potential, particularly for regional cross-border infrastructure. Here's how it can effectively structure a regional risk-sharing mechanism to stimulate private capital and ensure projects like the proposed Libya-Algeria power interconnector are commercially bankable. African Energy Bank is a catalyst for regional risk sharing and mitigation. It will provide sovereign backing, standardizing project development, and facilitating intergovernmental agreements. Africa Energy Bank is a magnet for private capital, not a replacement. As so, it can act as a crucial anchor investor, injecting initial capital that provides confidence to other financial institutions. African Energy Bank leverage ESG compliant financing and provide technical assistance and capacity building to NOCs and project developers. For a project like the Libya-Algeria power interconnector, the African Energy Bank will be instrumental. It could offer initial capital or equity participation, demonstrating strong African ownership and commitment, provide guarantees against specific risks, making the project more attractive to private lenders. Africa Energy Bank can act as a convener to ensure the electricity grids and regulatory bodies of Libya and Algeria are fully integrated and aligned on commercial terms, tariffs, and operational protocols, thus creating a stable and predictable environment for investors. In essence, the Africa Energy Bank is Africa's declaration of financial independence in energy. It is an African solution. Yes, it is an African solution for African development built on African resources and ingenuity. By empowering Libya and its neighbors to manage and mitigate risk, and by presenting commercially sound projects to the global investment community, the Africa Energy Bank will ensure that vital cross-border infrastructure to the global investment community. I said the African Energy Bank will ensure that vital cross-border infrastructure essential for our collective energy security and economic prosperity moves from concept to tangible reality. From concept to tangible reality. It is a testament to our commitment to shaping our own energy destiny.
Thank you very much for that, Secretary General. Really appreciate all the detail. And Dr. Khalifa, we just heard how the Libya-Algeria power interconnection could become bankable. So the Africa Energy Bank, this is one of the solutions.
Thank you, Amina.
Secretary General Philip, I'll come to you now. And apart from the position that you currently hold, you have a lot of experience when it comes to LNG value chains. And I want to leverage on that. And can you tell us how should North African exporters like Libya and Algeria balance between this urgent need of European demand, and how could they also build hydrogen-ready infrastructure?
Thank you very much, Amina, and I'd like to first start by appreciating the Prime Minister and the people of Libya, first for inviting me to this event, but also to congratulate them. I think that a lot is happening here in Libya, and perhaps if I hadn't come myself, I may not have witnessed all that's happening. It's exciting times for Libya, and I can...
And it's your first time here.
And I'll definitely be back.
Absolutely.
I can summarize it by saying Libya is back. And I say that because Libya was here before on a big scale, not only on the African continent, but on the global scale, in the playing field globally, both in oil as well as in gas. It's one of the few countries that actually has, together with Algeria and Nigeria, both pipeline export and LNG export. It's done this before. And I think this is just about Libya finding its way back to where it was before. And when it comes to natural gas in general, and LNG in particular, whatever you do, you have to look at the entire value chain, right? And so let me start with the demand side, because if you don't have demand, you don't have a business, you don't have anything. And when you look at the demand side, one of the greatest opportunities that Libya has is its geographical location. It's a phenomenal location. It's next to one of the biggest markets. It's next to one of the markets that can actually afford to pay for both LNG and pipeline gas, probably can afford it more than anybody else. It's a market that is growing. Last year, consumption of natural gas in Europe actually increased by about 3%. And so even though it may not be growing as other parts of the world, it is continually growing. But there's also the fact that domestic production in Europe is declining. Hence, there's opportunity there. And when you look at the increase in the renewables, whether it's solar or wind within Europe, because of the intermittency that comes with that, that is actually one of the big drivers behind natural gas demand increasing within Europe. So here is Libya, located just next to that market. It has a pipeline, the Green Stream, which currently is underutilized. Big opportunity, not only to fill that pipeline, but if you had the resources upstream, you could actually loop that pipeline, double the capacity almost immediately. And so huge opportunities for the nearby proximate European market. But also, if you go back into LNG, then the world is at your feet. And as we know, the demand for LNG in Asia and other places continues to grow. So that's on the market side, the demand side. We've talked about the location. Libya has some of that infrastructure. Certainly the pipeline is there. LNG might need a complete revamp or perhaps new investment completely, to get back there in terms of infrastructure. But I think that where Libya needs to pay the most attention is actually in the upstream. It has to find new reserves. It has to be able to produce. And so it's the supply side that has to be the focus for Libya at this time. Because like I said, the market is there. Some of the infrastructure is there. Investment is needed, additionally, of course, in the infrastructure and the liquefaction capacity and so on. But I think it's the upstream. And this is why I'm really pleased to hear of some of the deals that were being discussed earlier.
Absolutely.
I hear of, structure A and E, for example, and some of the gas that's expected to come from that. If you get 750 million standard cubic feet of gas a day coming through those production assets in this year, and hopefully more in the future, certainly you can supply into your own domestic market and support power and industry and other utilization domestically. But you can also then fill the Green Stream pipeline into Europe. As you discover more gas in the upstream, it gives you the opportunity to support LNG once again. And so one of the heartening messages for me today was actually the partnership between Libya and Egypt, both of whom are members, by the way, of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum. And so to see two of our members actually coming together to partner in this very interesting time is really fantastic, and I congratulate both countries on that partnership.
Which comes to my question next.
Yes.
How could the EGCF help further projects that you're seeing in Libya or in Egypt and so on? What kind of framework could you offer?
So we offer platforms for that type of cooperation. We offer the opportunities for countries who are dealing with unique situations or coming up newly to be able to learn from other countries and understand how they went through those pathways. Particularly in the gas arena, we're able to bring together on a platform the sort of opportunities for collaboration, for cooperation between governments, between countries, and learning from each other. We also have data. All right. Today, it's all about solid information, evidence that you have, and we can support our member countries with the necessary data that they need to drive, to drive their strategies, to drive investment, to help them to create the opportunities that are necessary. Lots of the discussion that has held today, both by the private sector but by others, has been around what kind of an environment you need to attract the necessary investment. This is what is key. And I think that I have seen a lot of progress here in Libya. I think there's still ways to go, but it's about creating that environment whereby investors are actually knocking on your door and you are not the one going to chase them. Because Libya has the resources. So this is not about resources, it's there. And it's really about creating that enabling environment that's going to allow investors to be prepared to put their money there because they know that their investment is secure and they can get their returns, at the end of the day. Now, you touched on hydrogen. I know that 2 years ago, most people would have told you that hydrogen is the next
It's no longer the case.
Gas.
In all its colors.
The reality is that we have tried it, we have seen it actually work, but it comes with challenges. Significant costs are involved. And there are technical challenges as well, with hydrogen. And so I would say that, and you see this with a lot of the players in the industry, there's been a kind of a pause, if you will, to reflect on if indeed hydrogen is the way or there are other renewable gases as well to look at. Now, if you have the money, it's great. You can invest in preparing your infrastructure to be hydrogen ready. That's fine. If you haven't got that money to spare, I would say focus on the realities of today, how you can develop your upstream infrastructure, complete the whole value chain all the way through to the market. How do you put in place the necessary elements of decarbonization? Because we have to decarbonize the natural gas value chain. And that's why I'm very pleased to see that Libya, in its structure A&E, is also building in CCS as part of that whole system. And that's fantastic. Now, once you're able to develop that, I think that the hydrogen play is one that it will work. Whether it will end up being the most cost-effective solution to natural gas going forward, I think is still to be seen. There are other options at the moment that we're looking at. Biomethane and all kinds of other synthetic forms of methane are coming up as well. And so, the jury is out there. But Libya is in the best place geographically. It has the resources and it has the opportunity to actually make it big once again in the gas arena. It was the third country in the world to export LNG, after Algeria and the US. And so, it's been there before, and it can do it
Yeah.
again. And I can see all the signs of it achieving that.
Absolutely. I mean, all the signs are there. Dr. Khalifa, as Philip rightfully said, the resources are here. The expertise is here. You're attracting investment. And the demand is in Europe is there. And God only knows when Russian gas or it will return or will ever return back to Europe. So there is demand in that area. I want you to talk to us a little bit about Libya's gas ambitions in terms of targets and your expansion basically to export more to Europe.
Thank you very much for asking this very important and interesting questions. As a matter of fact, last month in December, we held a gas summit where we decided to call it Libya as the future energy corridor and the bridge between Africa and Europe. That was the theme of the conference. So what we've discussed back then and what we're really willing to discuss with our partners in Europe and our existing partners who are working in Libya here is how we can monetize and unleash the gas potential of Libya and seize the opportunity of this demanding market in Europe as we're speaking today. As you know, Libya has the resources, so we do have more than estimated 70 TCF gas in conventional, another 129 in the unconventional. Those ready to be monetized. Some of those we're working on having a project, and others we're planning to have more projects. And at the same time, we're flaring lots of gas that we're trying to capture between now and 2030 and reach zero gas flaring. All this captured gas going to be monetized through our existing infrastructure between here and Europe. As you know, we have the Green Stream pipeline. This Green Stream pipeline, as we're speaking today, is operating at 10% of its capacity. So it's hugely underutilized. So here we see opportunity for investment in the gas sector as well as the oil sector that I mentioned before. And the focus of the government here is we're trying to just follow what we have done with the A&E structure in the offshore, and then bring NC7 on a stream, and then bring Achan on a stream, and bring other assets from Sirte Basin, the like of NC98, the like of Dahr al-Jufra. All these opportunities we're having as potential projects in our pipeline to increase gas output. So the focus is now to increase gas output to double. As we're speaking today, probably sales gas we're producing something close to 2.5 BCF.
Okay.
If we take out and subtract the acid gas, then we're talking about 2 BCF net. Unfortunately, mostly we're utilizing this domestically for power generation and for other uses, the like of industrial cement plant and steel and what have you. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to double this number. We're trying to reach 4 BCF.
By?
Hopefully in the next 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're sanctioning hopefully soon the NC7. We're sanctioning soon Achan, and as well as what we have signed today with our partners with Waha, because Waha Oil Company itself can produce anywhere between 600 to 800 million standard cubic feet of gas per day, ready to be monetized. We've agreed with our partners as the next step after we proceed with the development of North Jallo to develop the NC98, which is a gas feed that we expect to produce almost 400 million standard cubic feet of gas per day. And then we have Dahr al-Jufra, where we're expecting to produce another 200 million standard cubic feet per day. And we have the blowdown of the 103, which is the best reef in the world. We've been injecting the gas, recycling the gas for some time. And it's now time to blow down this gas cap and monetize the gas through the system. So we're expecting to produce another 400 million standard cubic feet per day from the 103. So in combined, we're thinking of doubling the output. And we're having a plan to develop the area NC54, the Arus al-Bahr. So, of course, that will come with an improvement for our, pipeline network for the gas. So we're working on the 42-inch pipeline that would evacuate gas from main Sirte Basin to the shore, the Marsal Brega. And then we're trying to debottleneck the coastal pipeline so that we reach safely green stream where we can then deliver gas to Europe. So, on the government agenda is doubling the gas production output today. But beyond this, given that we have the unconventional resources is still untapped. So we see huge opportunities in the unconventional resources. And some of these MOUs that we've signed with the international oil companies, the like of BP, the like of Chevron, the like of Shell, covers the theme of the unconventionals. We have huge unconventional base. And at the same time, as part of the government strategy, we wanted to utilize solar to generate power and free up more gas for export. So the plan, if you want to put it in timelines, by 2030, we're trying to
double the gas?
Hopefully double the gas. And 2030 is the year where we're trying to cease gas flaring, or at least come to zero, almost or close to zero gas flaring. And at the same time, start thinking of phasing out some of the liquids we're using nowadays to generate power. And like this, optimize the energy bill when it comes to power generations. And going forward, for the next milestone, which is 2035, we want to introduce in the energy mix renewables. So it's going to be hopefully 80% gas and 20% renewable by 2035. And that's the vision of the government. And going forward, we're going to increase the energy mix, introducing more renewables into the mix. So probably by 2040, we'll reach 35, something like this, and utilize more gas for export. So that's our holistic
it's a
vision
comprehensive
for the gas.
strategy. Yeah.
I know it's very extensive.
Yeah.
But we strongly believe it's realistic, and the government is working very hard to implement this, working with the NOC, working with our partners, working with our investors. I know gas projects, they're capital intense. They need lots of money. So as such, we want to open it up for investment with our partners, with our current and potential partners. And let me here just remind everybody of our global strategy when it comes to upstream and midstream and downstream. So on the upstream, our main focus is to increase output from brown fields and hit this 2 million barrel target. And then to support this target for sustainability, we want to, develop all the green fields, discover it and develop the like of North Jalu, that part of this agreement of today with the WAHA's partners and NC98. And that would support whatever we make on the development of the
that can be maintained, basically.
To maintain. And then we want to work on the marginal fields as well, which is a big layer in our agenda. And this marginal field will then help in sustaining and replacing whatever production that we produce from the first brown field lane and the green field lane. And then the main focus as well as that on the exploration. We wanted to make sure that we activate exploration so that we can replace whatever reserves that we deplete through the production process. Then we need to focus on gas that I've just mentioned, and we need to focus on the unconventional, and we need to focus a bit on the renewable to offset the gas and use it for export. And last but not least, we want to make sure that our refining capacity increase to such a level where we can probably become self-sufficient in the country. So that's our holistic view. But it has to be supported with, very new financing scheme, which we're considering from the government budget, out of the government budget, and seeking private investment from our partners as well.
Thank you, Dr. Khalifa, for that overview. Very comprehensive, and I'm sure you're going to be hitting all your targets. We're running out of time, unfortunately, and I have like a very quick question, if you can answer it in a minute. I know it's a challenging question, but if you can answer in a minute or 30 seconds. Your Excellency, you mentioned something about the world needing more energy. We need to invest in all types of energy, which is what Turkey is doing and other countries are doing. Do you think it's a matter of increasing supply, or is it managing demand?
Well, I think it's a matter of both, I would say. But more importantly, I would like to say that last 5-6 years, the energy world was facing a lot of challenges. Pandemic, the trade wars, changing monetary policies, commodity and energy prices went up very significantly, actual war, geopolitical tensions and wars. And frankly, it is very difficult for me to say whether like the worst yet to come. So every single day we are facing new difficulties and a lot of uncertainties. I think that's the most critical part besides the supply and demand. But the critical part is that how we're going to deal with these uncertainties that we are going to face over the next few years and decades to come. And I think to address this, political will and commitment is the key. And the next to that, I would say, and it's a great example that we are seeing today here in Libya, that strong international cooperation is the key thing to address all these challenges that we are facing.
Absolutely. Minister Badawi, what do you think is the key to energy security here?
Highlight the importance on collaboration and partnership. You know, ultimately it's all about collaboration and partnership, which is why, again, we're very happy to be here, right, you know, with our partners in Libya. And again, you know, a lot of what has been talked today is really also going to be a matter of how can we deliver that, right? And this is why we say that Libya's success is also success for Egypt. Having an ability to have an area where investment, you know, is attractive, you know, for our partners is good for Libya, is good for Egypt, is good for the, you know, for the region. And at the same time, Egypt, you know, has a wealth of expertise in terms of companies who can actually deliver projects on infrastructure to be able to help our partners in Libya and so forth, whether it is on pipeline front, whether it is in terms of offshore installation front, whether it is for onshore facilities front, what we just signed, you know, this morning as part of this MOU, you know, with Petrojet. Again, a very rich, you know, history, right, for decades in terms of being able to deliver, you know, projects, you know, world-class with very high performance and really kind of world-class time of efficiency perspective, not only in Egypt, but as well in the other parts in the region, like in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, in Oman. So we want to help Libya succeed. And again, it's not only about delivering those projects, leveraging the Egyptian, you know, companies and expertise to be able to deliver those projects, but it's also how to be able to find value to monetize those molecules in terms of also being able to help, you know, build infrastructure in terms of gas distribution for household, gas distribution, you know, for industry, how to be able to monetize, you know, those molecules, how to be able to have the skill set, additional skill set that is required to be able to complement the existing, you know, capabilities in Libya to be able to operate, you know, refineries or expansions or on the petrochemical front. Because again, Egypt has built that, you know, that expertise with different varieties of Egyptian companies, you know, private sector Egyptian companies who can really help industry really grow, accelerate, and implement. And we are here really in this conference really through our partnership really with our friends really in Libya. The relationship between the people of Egypt and the people of Libya, you know, goes to, you know, through history. And we want to really help Libya go through this dawn of revival, you know, that has been mentioned in the, you know, this morning, and to be part of that success story together. So collaboration is really the key. And we are very happy to be part of that.
Congratulations once again for signing the MOU, one of many to come, I'm sure. Madam Minister, what could help solve the world energy security problem? Do you think we need more collaboration, more investment? Do we need to control our demand? What do you think?
Yes, I think in Namibia's case, because we are really here to support Libya with the transformation sector, as you are rebuilding, we believe that Libya will become the Libya which they were, so they are there already. So we are here for collaboration, working together with Libya as Namibian government, because currently with the recent discoveries, we are close to the FDI because it will be determined soon. The PDB is approved by our government. So I mentioned about value addition in Namibia. Currently, I'm inviting Libya, many other countries, because we are here the benchmark from Libya, because you are a leading country. So we are inviting the international companies here present, the different countries, to come and invest in Namibia. I mentioned about the value addition, because with the discoveries, because our production time will be by 2030, so we need oil storage facilities, we need refineries, the pipelines. So therefore we said we are open for investors, and we are really investor friendly. So let us collaborate, let us work government together, let us get the private sector on board and see how we can take the world further through this collaboration. Thank you.
Secretary General, in just 30 seconds now, how could we help more investment go into Africa, let's say?
Yes, thank you, Amina. The backbone of APO is in one term: cooperation. If you have cooperation between countries, you can do everything. It means that we should think out of the box. We should think not isolated project. We should think synergy. We should think interconnector between countries, between transborder projects. My remarks is, for example, we have a success story in Nigeria, which is a private refinery, which is Dangote. But when I see this refinery, which is a private refinery, which is for me a success story, but we can go further than that one. We can build, how to say it, refinery between countries, to have one refinery between countries, because what we see actually, 65% of the African crude is exported as is. For me, it's very sad, because all the added value, all the upper margin is transferred outside, not for the African people. So we need to transform our crude here in Africa.
Have all the value-added products being produced in Africa, basically.
I think it is time now to consume what we product and to produce what we consume. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General. Philip, last word is yours.
I think it's been said before that the world needs more energy, it needs cleaner energy, but I'll add that it also then needs to get that energy to everybody. Nowhere more is that needed than in Africa. So from an energy poverty point of view, this is one of the worst regions. But aside from that, if you look at from a demographic point of view, this is also where we're going to have the biggest population increase globally. It's also in Africa. And so we need to do a lot more on this continent to ensure that we're able to provide energy for everybody. Not just more of it, but cleaner, but ensuring that everybody has access to that energy. And I think that the sort of cooperation that's been discussed by almost everybody on this panel is critical to that. This is a time when we need to have those cross-border conversations, where we need to be talking about those pipelines that supply from producing countries to non-producing countries and are able to meet the needs of Africans on the continent. That's not to say that we don't continue to develop LNG for the global market and for revenue generation, but because you need that revenue in order to invest in the infrastructure as well. But I do think that we need to start thinking about greater collaboration and cooperation in order to ensure that energy gets to everybody that needs it because of the poverty that exists here.
Access to energy is key. Ladies and gentlemen, I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for being part of it. And Dr. Khalifa, I'm looking forward to coming next year and hearing about those new targets being achieved. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you please have your seats? We still have the final panel discussion for today. Please have your seats. Thank you for this insightful panel discussion. And ladies and gentlemen, if today you just want to see the oil news, it's not about oil prices, it's not about Venezuela, it's not about Guyana, it's all about Libya and these agreements that have been signed today. Right, May?
بالفعل حسين، لربما اليوم الاتفاقية الأبرز التي يتم تناولها الآن من وسائل الإعلام العالمية هو توقيع الاتفاقية لتطوير قطاع النفط لمدة 25 عاماً مع شركاتا توتال وكونوكوفيليبس. نتحدث حسين عن استثمارات تصل ل 20 مليار دولار على مدار 25 سنة. هذه استثمارات هائلة. بكل الأحوال ندعوكم للجلوس، وهذا طبعاً لنتحضر إلى الجلسة الحوارية الثانية التي سنبدأها خلال دقائق إذن، حيث أننا سنتناول موضوع البنية التحتية والاستثمار وتحقيق نمو الطاقة. حسين.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we please just take our seats so we can proceed to the second panel discussion for today. And it is under the title of Infrastructure and Investments Driving Energy Growth.
هذه الجلسة تأتي لتسلط الضوء على البعد التنفيذي لنمو قطاع الطاقة، حيث تمثل البنية التحتية والاستثمار عناصر حاسمة لتحويل الخطط الاستراتيجية إلى قدرات إنتاجية مستدامة.
This session focuses on the operational foundations of energy growth, where infrastructure and investments are critical enablers for translating strategic plans into sustainable production capacity.
ستناقش أيضاً الجلسة الحوارية سبل تطوير الأصول، تحديث المرافق وتأمين الاستثمارات اللازمة لدعم نمو متوازن وطويل الأمد، بما يعزز موثوقية الإمدادات ويرفع كفاءة منظومة الطاقة.
So this discussion will address asset development and facility modernization, as well as securing the investments required for balanced long-term growth, strengthening supply, reliability, and overall system efficiency.
يدير هذه الجلسة الحوارية السيد NJ أيوك، رئيس مجلس الإدارة التنفيذي لغرفة الطاقة الإفريقية.
And the speakers on this panel discussion. And please, ladies and gentlemen, can we just take our seats? We're gonna now proceed to the second panel discussions. May I invite the speakers, Mr. Najib Tannouj, Director of Maintenance and Project Engineer Department at the National Oil Corporation. We have Mr. Francisco Requena, Director of Exploration and Production at Repsol. Mr. Bersilav Gasho, and he is the member of the Executive Board at OMV. And we have John Gillett, Vice President of North Africa and Yemen at TotalEnergies. And finally, Mr. Sigi Mainster, he's the President of the Global Drilling Neighbors Industry. Please join me in welcoming, and the stage is yours.
Please.
Good afternoon. I think for everybody who is still sitting, this is actually the city saved the best for the last. We are going to have I think, an amazing discussion about where we sit with Libya at the moment. And I just want to take these discussions to start right now with, from the far end with Luca. Luca, ENI is doing a lot of gas production in this country. And what is your outlook for the future? And what's the next big thing with ENI and gas in Libya? And how do you see the future when it comes to Libya, investing in Libya, operating in Libya, and also looking at the future?
Thank you for the question, NJ. And let me say that we do have several projects under execution now, but we do have also exploration. Let me start from the projects we will be delivering, actually 2 of them this year as for startup, and the other one will see the startup by the end of 2027. I'm referring to the Bahr es Salam gas compression. Everything is done, and we should be online by the end of this quarter. So by March, we'll be adding something around 100 million SCF on the production, delivering, first of all, on the domestic market, and then if there will be some exceeding volume, they will be exported to Italy, to Europe through Italy. The other one that will be on stream this year will be Buri gas utilization project. We are speaking about another 120 million SCF, and this one will happen by Q3 this year. Again, it will be adding on the already 800 million that we are producing. So again, devoted to domestic market, if any, will be exporting. The beauty of the Buri gas utilization project is that we will flare down completely the gas that we are flaring since a few years. So we will have zero flaring for all the assets we are operating in country. So adding on the decarbonization story. The other one is the biggest project that we do have is the famous structure A and E, again on Bahr es Salam. We are drilling as we speak the wells for the production for the structure A, and as I said, we are aiming to start the production by the end of 27.
Is that exploration, or is it P wells?
The exploration is very important. We are, as we speak again, we are drilling 2 wells. One is the first deep water well in Libya, and is Mazzola, offshore of the Sirte Basin. And then the other one is an ALX well, infrastructure-led exploration. So is again in the Bahr es Salam area. And the beauty of this second one is that if we were successful, as we hope and as we believe, the tie-in to the existing infrastructure will be a matter of really very limited time. So one is an open to new play. The other one is driven by possibility of going in production very, very soon.
Look, I want to stop you there, and I have to apologize to my panelists. I'm going to be interrupting them a lot.
Absolutely.
But I want to shift right here to Najib. Najib, you represent the NOC. You're doing amazing, and we've seen deals being signed today. We're looking at what it takes for Libya to get to its targets, 1.6, 1.8. Now, what are you doing as NOC to prepare Libya so these guys can put in the money, operate, have ready infrastructure for them to take this game right forward? Najib, that's you.
Yes, it's a challenge actually. NOC had made lots of efforts to maintain the production levels. We were far beyond this current production was 1.4, shooting for 1.6 and targeting 2 million barrels in the near future. So we need to do a lot because if I can elaborate a bit on the history of the oil industry in Libya, we started late 50s up to mid 60s where we have all the installations, pipeline networks, export terminals and process station and everything. All these stations and pipeline networks were deteriorated during the past period of time, and they are aged over 6 decades old. So we need to do lots of effort to maintain. And we used to do that. NOC have made lots of efforts. We launched a project called AIMS, which is the Asset Integrity Management System, where we find the gaps and try to reduce the gaps and bring the facility to the stream. We have pipelines like 60 years old, so they cannot tolerate anymore. So they need to either replace it or divert the flow to another pipeline. So we do pipeline optimization project now. So
who's paying for that?
We're prepared. Sorry?
Who is paying for that?
NOC. They do.
NOC is paying for that.
Yeah.
Do you know how much?
NOC, it requires a lot of money, a hell of money.
I know it's a lot of money. How much?
Yeah, but but we're looking why
$2 billion? $2 billion?
Yeah, it requires quite a $2 billion, $3 billion.
This is what makes it even more better. NOC is going to be putting $2 billion in infrastructure modernization.
Yes.
That's huge. How is that going to help Dr. Berry to really bring discoveries and infrastructure so we don't have stranded resources?
That's
in
why,
Libya?
like we have a mission, like we invite investors to invest in the brown fields rather than going to risk for the green fields. That would take ages to get the development. So the reserves are there. Libya stand on the huge reserves in Africa, like one of the big reserves. Also, we have we still being considered like the main supplier for the energy supplier for the international market, like European and also the Mediterranean countries, as well as the NOC announced new exploration blocks. So demand on the facility rehabilitation has become huge now to contain the 2 million target production. That's why we encourage them to invest on brown fields rather than go for that. You know, they can do both, but brown fields is the money, the crude oil is there. The quality of the crude is one of the best crude in the market, the entire world, because it's API. We have crude like with 44 API gravity and, you know, not less than 30, you know, so the average is above even Brent value.
Picking on that discussion on brownfields, if I should push back a little bit, I want to ask Dr. Berry, right? I think OMV, legacy producer, can I get a mic to him, Najib?
Yes.
Okay, good. Legacy producer in Libya, you're doing amazing. I heard you're making so much money. You are happy to be here. That's really good. But now let's pick on it. He talked about fixing infrastructure, reducing costs, inviting you to come in, getting brownfields so that assets are not stranded, new discoveries and all of that. How is OMV realigning strategy to make that happen or capture from this opportunity?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me here on the panel again, MJ, and it's always a pleasure to come back. So it's a pleasure to see how our friends at the NOC have progressed actually production over the last year, and I really want to use this opportunity to congratulate on that. Now, with regards to your question, how this helps us, of course it helps. First of all, Libya has enormous resource potential. 40% of the African resources sit technically in Libya. And whilst there is a lot of brownfield opportunities where we all are engaged as operators, and so is OMV, where we redevelop fields, where we redevelop and contribute basically also to production targets going forward, the question always remains, you know, is there infrastructure bottlenecks? How do we deal with that? And are the right things being addressed? Now, there is less bottlenecks in terms of oil infrastructure, also historically, and I think we see also now with this record level output, I think it's been mentioned today, highest level in the past 12, 13 years that has been produced. That's great. On the other hand, if you look, for instance, at gas is at the lowest export level probably in years. Yes, of course, there's also soaring gas demand in the country, and significant, basically, gas is required also for local consumption. On the other hand, there have been infrastructure bottlenecks in the past that made a lot of these gas opportunities technically stranded assets. And I think it's great to see that both the Libyan government and the NOC have recognized the potential here and are addressing the right things. So what the NOC is doing here really debottlenecking infrastructure. If you think about the Sirte Basin and how you come up to the coastal pipeline, for instance, and then how you come from the coast over to Greenstream for potential further exports, these are exactly the right questions and the right preconditions that need to be in place in order to put these stranded assets in function and develop these gas resources further.
Is it fair to ask that you are going to be participating in some kind of infrastructure investment to unlock gas in Libya, maybe be it domestic or for export market, or if not, what opportunities are there to unlock gas investments?
I think that there is a lot of opportunity for gas investment in the country. I think that there is a lot of opportunity also for additional de-risking of gas resources in the country. Alone, if you look at what is, in terms of associated gas stranded, according to some reports, this is anywhere between 7 and 9 BCMA. Yeah? I mean, just look at that potential alone. That is massive and significant. Yeah? And not to mention that there is a lot of gas actually still, subsurface-wise available and is waiting to be de-risked. I think you need the right, actually, fiscal regimes for that in place, and of course you need infrastructure in place. And I think that this attempt now to really ensure that the backbone, the gas infrastructure backbone, is being quickly refurbished and built out is absolutely the right thing that needs to be done in Libya, and that it will help actually to accelerate the production of these gas reserves.
Francisco, I want to come to you, picking on, Dr. Berry could give you the mic. Picking on what Dr. Berry just put out, Repsol, looking at Libya, what do you think is the outlook for future upstream investment as per Repsol in Libya? And also, can you assess what Repsol is doing at the moment? And are we going to see you participate in that bid round they just announced today? Because Total already said they're participating. Where do you stand on that bid round? And what's your outlook for Libya right now as you see with your operations?
Fair question, and thank you very much for having me again and to share this panel with this gentleman that we are all together, not only today, but every single day trying to develop and to put a piece together with the National Oil Corporation into the development of the country. I have to say that one of the most important examples about the future of Libya has been what has been announced today in the signature, which by fast, I'm a little bit jealous about the signature of our friends from Total and Conoco of this extension. The figures that they announced today is amazing, and I'm pretty sure that when the national companies and companies like Total and Conoco, they sign together and put announcement in place, they are going to comply with them. We're talking about increasing to 800 and something thousand barrels per day, 20 billion, 25 years. That is a very good example about the attractiveness of this country to bring investments, to bring technology, and to rely on current resources that we have here. And Repsol is no different. We are also of a very deep believer that beyond to be distracted about many things that we could be done, our main responsibility is to extract as much value as possible and to help with our technology and resources to what we have today. Sometimes, and that's why we have focused our portfolio, we are a humble company that cannot be everywhere. And in Libya, we were of very big believers that by applying the correct technique, partnership, resources, infrastructure, we could achieve something that to me is unbelievable that we can achieve today. That 2026, El Sharara field has 30 years of production, and we are going to reach back again 350,000 barrels per day, which is the peak production that achieved in 2013-15. So it's unbelievable that a field, that has been producing for 30 years, we can come back again and put that into the top production. How that has been done, and we need to analyze what has been the success of this example and to see if we can replicate and not invent the wheel. And I think that the ingredients are there. Subsurface, the facilities in place, but it is true that those facilities are 30 years old, so we need to continue putting them to work for the following years to come. Obviously the resources, economic resources, and when we talk infrastructure, we are not only talking about iron pipelines or pumps or control systems. We are talking about every single piece of the value chain that need to work for putting our job, which is bringing the subsurface molecules into the final market. And this country has those ingredients, and we have demonstrated. 2023, the field was producing 230,000 barrels per day. Doing nothing, today we would have been in 160,000. And we are in 327, 31st of December. So that means that you are not only increasing from 230 to 320, you are increasing and reverting the decline. And that is about putting the correct people in the place, the correct partnership, the correct money, the correct equipment, and making things work. Can we do things additional to that? You asked about the position of Repsol in the future of Libya. Of course, this is a success story that we want to replicate. And there is a gap in our production profile going forward that needs to be filled. License or the bid round, we want to participate. It's going to be a lot of competition, and let's see if we can have something to say there. But if not, we believe that there is many other ways to continue collaborating in increasing production in this country, as what has been done in the last 3 years. So it's not just, I will promise something. It has been delivered, and we still have the 2026 in place, a big challenge for us, which is how to put from 325 to the 350. Procurement system need to work, the environment need to be set for this to be a process. And I think that, well, the field is there. It's now our responsibility, together with the National Oil Corporate and our partners, to make that happen.
We're going to come back to the environment because, you know, we're going to need, what I'm reading from S&P, and it's saying we're going to need about 34 billion, even more, to invest to maintain that infrastructure and also maintain upstream exploration in order to increase production to what NOC and the government is estimating. And thank you for saying you're going to beat in the licensing round. I think you can beat some of the guys on this stage. So let's hope for more success. But Jean, I want to come to you. You just I think, and I kept you on the upstream as a little bit last because we've heard a lot about TotalEnergies today. Can you hear me? You can. Maybe, can I steal this mic? No, it's okay. Now you can. Okay, I mentioned TotalEnergies and money. Now you can't hear me. It's okay. You're going to pay. But first, let's start. The agreement you signed, we saw Mr. Puyani sign today. What does that mean to Libya, and what does that mean to global energy security? Or can you tell us a little bit about that agreement that was signed today with NOC and TotalEnergies and Conoco?
Well, what it means I'm very happy tonight because I happen to have been in charge on TotalEnergies side of this negotiation. It's been a long journey, but we managed to land that deal today, and I take it as a personal achievement because it was not easy. It's complicated to put together different forces in order to build the future, because that's what we are doing. By securing a future up to 2050, a little bit too short to make it to 100 history for TotalEnergies in the country, we are making it possible to invest in big projects. The ones that will take several years to be developed and that will require 10, 15 years to be profitable. But that's not the only thing we are doing on the Waha joint venture. The Waha joint venture has enjoyed a production of more than 100,000 barrels a day over the last 2 years. And it's not only major projects, it's numerous.
Which other projects are you guys going to pick up in 2026 or 2027 to grow that portfolio beyond 100,000 barrels? Which are you going to, what's coming?
Well, what we are trying to do is selectively allocate our capital, which is scarce everywhere, as much in TotalEnergies as in NOC or in ConocoPhillips, if I may talk on their behalf. And this means that you don't want to automatically embark in gigantic projects because they are flagships. You have many opportunities to improve productivity, infill drilling, horizontal drilling, improved efficiency of the wells, etc., etc. And you can do a lot without massive investments. And for example, we are about, and Patrick promised to come for the inauguration, which should be in a few weeks, as a matter of fact, of the redevelopment of the Mabrouk facilities. They were destroyed 10 years ago, and we have taken on it 2 years ago to install an early production facility, which is going to treat 25,000 barrels a day with 0 CO2 emissions, extremely clean, and which will have been in operation fast, 2 years. So there are means to increase significantly the production without taking up with massive investments. And there are other examples like that where we could apply these early production systems inside Waha, for example, again.
Thank you, Jean. And I want to go to you, Mr. Meissner. You, by the way, you gave a great speech today. You were very excited talking to people this morning. But you're the only driller on stage. You're the only service guy on this stage. And I want you to listen to these guys, right? They get the money and you get the contract. So at the end of the day, you're the richest man that goes home. And they have to wait 20 years to get paid. So you're a lucky man, my friend. Now, let me come to you. You've listened to all of them. They've discussed about what they're going to invest in. But what do you need from these guys, and also maybe government, to make it commercially sound for you to put equipment, go to production, hire, train, empower people, put the whole shebang together in the next 18 to 24 months?
So first of all, NJ, thanks for having me, the only driller here on the panel. So one thing I definitely need is some money. From after they receive all the money, I need to get some money as well to get started. I think fundamentally for a drilling contractor, and I think it's probably also important for other service providers, is that you want some term. In order to make it worthwhile, let's say bring a rig from outside Libya, you prepare the rig, you have an investment, and I think you want a longer outlook, meaning you get a term contract, maybe 2 or 3 years, that will be perfect. I think there's another aspect where you look at personnel, for example. If you increase the rig count in any place, you're likely looking for people that you need to train, you need to attract the right people, and in order to do that, again, you need some term, because it's hard to find people if they only have a 3 months outlook. So I think these are fundamental things. The other thing that to a company like Nabors is important, that we learn very early what the requirements are, what is the customer looking for, what are the challenges, and according to that we can build the rig properly and make sure we can address all the issues. So I think those are some of the main fundamentals that we're looking for.
But are issues around the environment to operate, maybe visas, permits, and timelines for issuing permits for operational issues, do you think that needs to be improved? Because I'm asking that, NOC is your partner, you need to push them so they make sure that you get your job done. So, do you think the things that need to be improved in that area?
So you said the right word. I think a partnership is really essential, especially when you do a ramp up. The more you engage on both sides, I think the more success you have for the campaign. I think for somebody, we have a partnership here, so we have good local knowledge with ADC. But fundamentally, if you go into a new country or bring more equipment in, then you also want to deal with less administration. I can imagine at the beginning of a campaign, you may bring labor resources from outside Libya. That means you need work permits, you need visas, things like this. And if that is simple, it makes life very easy and you can be efficient. So there's many, many things that come together, right?
Look, I'm coming back. I'm coming right at you. I think you pick up the discussions we've had here. You've heard your colleagues talk about, potentially applying for the next bidding round. You didn't say anything. I think you've been, but we hope you have something to say about that. But when you look at it, he talked about brownfield development, talked about infrastructure challenge. You doing gas, 3 to 4 billion or more needed. Where does E&I stand on investment? Where does E&I stand on really taking the game to the next level?
You mean in terms of investment?
Investment, yes, and also the bidding round. That's
I mean, as I said earlier, we are already committed and spending something around $10 billion in the next, in the past 2 years and in the next 4 years to go. And of course, we believe that we can leverage a lot on the exploration activity that we are running with, because our target is not to make only exploration, but to make exploration and bring the molecule to the market. We are not just exploring for the pleasure of booking reserves, but we are exploring just to bring the molecule to the production, and that's what we are aiming to. A key point has been also raised in the previous panel, whereby optimizing the investment by sharing facilities is a key point to make economic even a limited discovery, a small discovery. So our target will be to, let's say, to share as much as possible facilities that are already there, that are potentially having some haulage capacity. And also we are trying to increase the collaboration with different joint ventures and even cross-country in order to optimize the infrastructure, because the less you spend, the more competitive you are and the more the stakeholder will benefit. So it's a very, very virtuous cycle whereby every single development, every single activity should be in the context optimizing what is already available, because nobody is really looking for spending more just for the pleasure of having his own isolated project. So, and Jay, if I say the commitment is there for investment, commitment is there for improving the governance that is part of the process. It's not only about wells and the platform, but also commitment is there in order to increase the collaboration cross JV and cross country in order to make any. I
like to talk about governance, but let me take that to one next level. And I think most of you won't agree with me when I say this, but maybe you agree with me. But I'll talk about decarbonization. You have done something amazing with Belen, that it was, I think, the first low carbon and production you did in 18 months. How are you going to bring that in your Libyan project, in methane reduction, and still being able to operate in a world-class standard?
I mean, we are applying every single target that we are given as E&I internally to every single country where we operate. So decarbonization is not a target, it's a tool of developing gas and making gas cleaner and cleaner. Here we are, as I said, we are aiming and having zero flaring by the next 2 quarters. And for us, it will be zero flaring for the full company, and there will be a measure of results. You heard this morning that other companies are heading to, by 2030, to have zero flaring. It's not for us. So this, I mean, decarbonization is an integral part of how we operate in all the countries, and we try to keep the same standard all over. And then, of course, could be specific project, as you mentioned, in Ivory Coast, or improving what we are already running as an operation. So, but become a real target.
Francisco, I want to come to you, and I want you to pick on some of what Luca was saying about operating low carbon environment, but also just PS in a little bit on Repsol, like how are you going to balance things with new energies, new development in this market? And are there some things you might need, be it incentives, in order to help you attain that and get there, so in order to balance your portfolio between, be it fossil fuels or renewables?
I don't want to skip the question, but I want to try to come back to the question that you framed to us at the beginning.
Please
about
do.
Because sometimes we need to make sure that we understand it properly. When you say this country will require $3 to $4 billion investment in infrastructure, I think that we should not disallocate or dislocate the concept of a full development to a pure infrastructure investment return requirement. I think that here, when we are talking about how we are going to manage to put all this production in place, that production will require infrastructure, and obviously the entire investment from drilling, producing, and transporting, and selling that need to be within these value chains. I don't think that we are here looking to very specific infrastructure fund investment that would like to just take the risk of transporting in an open access grid. I think that that is a second stage. I think that for the time being, this country and the development that we will be pursuing need to have a fully integrated investment concept.
Francisco, I agree with you. I'm all about drill, baby, drill. So I want to see more exploration wells. I want to see horizontal, vertical, whatever you call it. I just want to see some new prospects being drilled. And I think that is more accurate. And I think picking on that, we want to see you do that, right? We hope that NOC government puts the right kind of things that you need to make that happen. And so I'm in agreement with you on that.
And in following that comment as well, I mean, what we also need to make sure is that those resources that are today stranded because need to have pass through another facility that belongs to others, and that happened to us in other countries, require an open-minded processing scheme to make sure that we can develop those resources. But now, trying to not escape from the low carbon, and I think that we have committed since the very beginning to be part of this. I wouldn't call it transition, but it's addition. We are all in the convincement that the world will require more and more energy. And I think that Repsol is a company that will not deny that the fossil fuels will need a very important piece of this addition. Now, how we can, as a company, contribute to other things that are going to compensate and to make things more efficient and more decarbonized, and it's our responsibility. So I think that we are not, none of us, I would say, that we are denying that we want to create a much better efficient and low emitter industry. What we are always also saying is these fossil fuels need to be required. And in particular, there is a lot of things that we can do here. And talking about infrastructure, there's places in this country in which they are still burning fuel for creating electricity. Those are the kind of change of mindset that we need to work together, all of us, to make sure that that crude oil or that oil is used for exporting or for refining or for whatever other reason, and use what you also have here, which is an enormous resource of gas that is potentially going to be used for creating this electricity. Only by that change, the impact is tremendous. And those are the steps that we need to help this country to do and to try to bring up from other sides.
Najib, I think that beckons the question, what's the strategy and what do you think you can work on with your partners? I think we're picking on the area of partnerships to really deal with the critical issue that Francisco just mentioned. Energy poverty and lack of maybe some places without electricity. You have great capacity, but also dealing with clean cooking, but also because of that it translates to jobs for everyday people in this country. How are you working, building the right kind of partnerships with your partners right here to make happen? Mr. Meissner is already hiring a lot of them.
I like the expression partners. We are more partner than business, partners. It's a huge demand on the gas for generating electricity and also to supply to the factories like steel factory and the other factories, cement factory and so. So we have plenty of gas being burned, but the situation in the country is different than any place. Because the country is like a continent. It's a huge land. We have like 2 million square kilometers, and where the fields are scattered all over the places. And we have, a small amount of gas cannot be utilized for export. We cannot invest on that. So we need somebody to help us to convert this amount of gas, small amount of gas, like 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, you cannot, deliver 15 million, like 1,000 kilometers to the coast side. It's not commercially. So we're looking for convert the gas to the data processing centers, like using the power. Also convert it to GTL when you produce like liquids, fuel. This kind of facility we require on business model, like we can develop together a business model that to please everybody.
Are you engaging some of the IOCs for that?
Yes.
Are you having ongoing discussions with some of the IOCs?
We did, we're doing, but the NOC, they have strategy because they need to comply with the commitment that for the, being set like in COP 28, 29, so zero carbon emission in the 2030, so we have to be prepared. That's why we set the plan from now and ongoing. So as Mr. Chairman mentioned that last year we managed to divert like 1 million cubic feet to the system. And this year, shooting for 100 and 150 million from Bernek to convert it there. But we have the small production fields like scattered all over the places that require some localized like skid mountain station where we can convert it to liquid fuel used in local premises, like not for export. Or just invite somebody that he can bring the equipment for the data generation centers and they can use it for power. The attraction is there. We're open up, we're just, widely invite, everybody that we're back. So we're shooting, we set the goal that we're shooting for 2 million barrels. This year we'll manage, hopefully we'll manage the 1.6 thousand barrels. So we will set all the strategic ways with our, not just with our partners. We are looking even for the other suppliers like service companies, service providers, because we like to revamp a machine like major overhaul. You have to export it all the way to the factory. That takes more ages to be returned back. So we can encourage people that they can set workshop like in the free zone in Misrata or in Praga or anywhere, that they can do the major overhaul for the compressors, for the power generation systems. That's the partnership we need. We need somebody to invest on this, localize the services. So we're going to open up even the jobs for locals, train locals, and all that. It's like a partnership relation that we are looking for.
Najib, thank you for that. And I think you just mentioned some great opportunities for not just international, but also Libyan entrepreneurs to really participate in shoring up this industry. Dr. Berry, I want to come with you, and I think we're almost wrapping up. A lot of them are hungry, but they want to have dinner. But OMV, you have been what you call a legacy and world-class producer, and been very committed to this country. And I've had discussions with you in the past, even in Cape Town, on what it means to Africa. What does that gas or energy security mean to you for this country, Europe, and regional economies? And what role are you looking to play with that, with your investments in this country?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I think true, yeah. Well, we have almost half a century history now in Libya. It's 51 years that we're present here. And I think when I think about Libya, or in general OMV's presence in any of the foreign countries, then we want to be a good local citizen. That's priority number one. And we want to make sure that we can have also a meaningful contribution to local economy, local development, local questions of energy security and supply, and that we need to play a role here. And I think all of us as IOCs, we need to understand also the energy poverty problem of Africa, how we can contribute, and of course how we can go beyond that. And once that requirement is also served or fulfilled,
how we can develop some of these resources, because they can be very valuable if also exported and not only used locally. Now, again, when I think about Libya, fantastic potential in oil, fantastic potential in gas, and that's still to come in terms of its relevance. I mean, if you look at the billions and billions of cubic meter of or TCF of resources that are available here, that is of great value to both, I mean, local economies, the African continent, and it can even make a very, very meaningful contribution to Europe's energy independence and security. And the entire northern hemisphere is a natural area for Europe to look for further energy diversification of gas supply, gas flows, and other things.
Thank you, Doctor. And Jean, I want to pick on something your chairman said this morning about solar. How do you see solar or renewables as part of TotalEnergies' portfolio, not in Libya, but not just in Libya, maybe in the region? Is that going to be key part of your investments?
Yeah, it is. It is already. The strategy of the company is very clearly defined. It's more energies, less emissions. That's the motto that Patrick squeezed into his speech, by the way. And the idea is that it is grounded on two pillars: oil and gas and electricity, integrated power. And integrated power is power generated by gas, because you need gas for adjusting the flexibility of the other source of energy, electricity, that we intend to develop, which is renewables, solar or wind. And we do intend to allocate a fair portion of our capital investments on this renewable part, 25–30%, in the long term, because we are building a company which is producing more and more energy, but with less and less emissions. When it comes to Libya, as pointed by Patrick earlier, we have a 500 megawatt solar farm project, which is sizable.
Did you say 500 megawatts?
Yeah, 500 megawatt. When you may have noticed that the strategy of the country is 4 giga, so we are 1/8 of this. And there is room for more, actually, but we are working hard to make this happen this year, to take a final investment decision. What does it represent? 500 megawatt? It's when you take into the load factor of a solar plant, which is not base load, but with the solar irradiation you have in Libya, more or less, it's equivalent to a base load of 30 million scf per day of gas, 30 million cubic feet per day of gas that will be freed from the power generation system of the country that can be exported. And that is part of contributing to the gas supply to Europe without using it, by just not using it in the country. So these are examples of what can be done in Libya, and as mentioned by Patrick, the situation of the country is such that you could even imagine to export electricity directly. But I think that practically coming step by step by reducing the gas demand in the country and freeing up gas for export, that's already a big success, and it's very easily achievable.
Was that bien fait? Mr. Meissner, I'm starting my wrap-up phase. I promise the organizers I'm going to be on time, but I have a two-part question to you, then to Luca. What do you see? You've heard these guys, you've heard these big discussions around trying to operate in a world-class fashion, decarbonization, but again, a lot of it is going to lie on your laps, because they can accomplish that without people like you really making sure that this does take place, to operate in an environmentally sustainable way. And how are you prepared to offer that to not just any of the companies up here, but the entire energy industry
and Libya on that? And finally, should we expect in the next 12 months? Are we going to see new contracts, new deals, if we hear 12 months from today?
So, with respect to decarbonization, I'm sure the gentlemen here know you can modify your rig and you can run with engines that running. There's a lot of field gas. You can run, instead of running 100% on diesel, you can run 70% on gas and 30% on diesel. Bring your diesel consumption down, and you have a much better emission profile. So that's one thing that we do quite often in certain areas. Another thing that you can do, you can electrify your rig. So if there's gas, the operator can decide to establish a microgrid, for example, and then you can run your rigs from a grid, basically, right? Which is nice for the people to do because it's very quiet, right? The rig is super quiet all of a sudden. You don't have the engines in the background. So, did this answer your question? I don't know what the other thing was. I'm doing overtime, so I'm kind of asked, what was the other question you had?
In 12 months, what do we expect to see from your company? And what do you expect to see? What should we hope for?
I need to mention that we are in a partnership here with Sal Drilling, ADC. And I think what I expect, what I've heard today, that there's going to be more rigs going to work. In the next 12 months, I would think, I know ADC has plans to put 2 more rigs to work for sure next year. And I think there's potential for more rigs, right? So definitely a ramp up in activity, which is nice to see because other areas we are fighting a consistent rig decline. As a drilling contractor, it's nice to go to an area where people are actually ramping up and need more rigs, right? And so it's a good thing for us. And as I said in my speech, we're clearly committed to participate and do the best we can to help on the ramp up.
Luca, in 12 months, no, let me rephrase the question. I don't like that question. If there's anybody here who wants to invest in Libya, 30 seconds, what would you tell them?
Come to Libya because it is a more than normal country where you can do any kind of business without any issue. So, 20
Good.
seconds.
Jean, if there's an investor here looking at Libya and they ask you, I want to go to Libya, I want to invest in Libya's energy industry, what would you tell them?
I didn't hear you. What?
My mic is not so good. If there's any investor in this room, what would you tell them about choosing Libya?
Sorry, that's simple. That's very simple. It's a country with massive opportunities. There are gigantic untapped resources in gas, in oil, and there is probably also a massive acreage of exploration that has not been fully checked yet. So please come, join us. We have a very full plate, and we need more partners to compete and to play together in this country.
Dr. Berry, if you're talking to an independent, not a major, if you're talking to a service company about Libya, why should they choose this country at this moment, at this time, to invest and take opportunities, but also to empower people? Why Libya?
World-class resource, stable, predictable fiscal regime, and the right, basically, IOCs in country together with the NOC to develop these resources, a place where basically you can prosper when you come.
Francisco, I'm going to change the question with you. If you are in a bad position, if you are having a hard time, look to your left and look to your right. Which one of these guys would you like to work with?
Do I need to choose, really?
I have no problem if you choose. That would be your problem if you didn't choose somebody.
The good thing is that we are working all together. First of all, we are working fantastically with the national because otherwise we would not be able to deploy our capacities, and it's a must to have this. And the rest, come on, we need to do more things together. We need to do more things together because it's very difficult to find good projects in the portfolio. More and more the companies, we compete for good projects to invest. Money is always a constraint, but if there is a good project, a good resource, good people, good partners, and good future, and a stable situation, those are the framework under which money will come. And I always say, look, invest on us as well, because we are already here. And that's the short answer.
Najib, I'm going to close with you. I think I got 30 seconds left, I'm being told, and I want to finish on time, okay? As a Libyan, you've listened to a variety of views. You have many people in the audience. You have so many people that they cannot be in this room. What's your message to those in this room that want to invest, those that are looking for opportunity, because a lot of Libyan companies are looking for opportunity, and those that cannot be in this room? Why should they believe in NOC, this country, and its resource potential?
Yeah, I would like just to express the fact that we are opening up. We need to call them to just come over. We have very nice sweet crude oil. We have all the installations facilities around there. We have very easy and very cheap lifting charges. So I think the investment in Libya, especially in the brown fields, it's the time for it, for the moment, to reactivate the oil sector and rehabilitate the facilities, and we launch the target of 2 million barrels. So we have lots of small undeveloped fields not to be hooked up and produced. It's a time for investors to come and help us.
I believe indeed it's a time to invest in Libya. It's a time to choose Libya, and we are also happy that you could see Chevron re-entering and many other companies that are here having those discussions. But beyond everything, I love the coffee. Okay, that makes me choose Libya. I love the food. I think it's people, it's hospitality. It makes it great, and I want to come every year. But please, may you join me in putting your hands together for this amazing panel. We've stayed on time, and I just want to thank them for keeping it brief and making a big success. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate all that you do.
Thank you.
وبكل ما حمله هذا اليوم من حوارات عميقة ورؤى عملية، نصل إلى ختام اليوم الأول من قمة ليبيا للطاقة والاقتصاد. يوم أكد أن ليبيا لا تقود فقط خارطة الطاقة، بل تتعداها وتعمل بشكل أكبر نحو تحقيق مستقبل مستدام ونحو دور محوري يجعل من قطاع الطاقة رافعة حقيقية للنمو الاقتصادي. نلتقي يوم الغد في اليوم الثاني لنواصل هذه الحوارات العميقة.
أكيد as we conclude day one of the Libya Energy and Economic Summit, ladies and gentlemen, today's discussions have clearly shown that Libya is not only restoring its role in the energy landscape, but it is also confidently advancing toward a future where energy becomes a true driver of economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to welcoming you back for the second day tomorrow where we build on today's momentum. So see you all tomorrow.
شكرا لكم.